Now, Hangin with Hester and Hanny with Jacob Hester and Charles Hanagriff. Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger. Alongside Jacob Hester, here's Charles Hanagriff.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're listening along with us up in the Shreveport area, 1130 The Tiger. If you're watching with us on CST, or on our YouTube page, 104.5 ESPN, Hangin with Hester and Hanny for all of our previous stuff. We welcome you in to this afternoon show. Hello to Josh Ward, our audio producer, to Paul O'Neill, our video producer, to Playboy Marty, who forgot his hat today.
He forgot his hat? But you know I didn't forget my hat, and you didn't forget a hat.
I didn't forget. You know, you guys kind of chided me yesterday that I never wore a hat to work. And the last time I wore a hat to work, it was a cowboy hat, so that, you know, the headphones don't fit over it. So I wore a hat today for you and for all the guys on the crew today, but also because this hat's got a little bit of a special significance to me. So I thought I would let you know about this hat. This hat says, if you're watching along with us on video, says Birdies for Bolner, and it is a golf tournament that we're going to do here on September the 12th down in Berwick, Louisiana. It's just on the other side of Morgan City, down at the St. Mary Golf and Country Club. And the tournament is to benefit the Nicholas Bolner Foundation. And what the Nicholas Bolner Foundation does is it funds something called the Teen Challenge Program. It helps young people deal with depression and addiction, and helps them through that. Yeah. And the program, which is Christian faith based, has done a fantastic job at helping young people. Nicholas Bolner was a young man who was the son of a very, very close personal friend of mine that lost his life 2 years ago to these problems, and they decided to start a foundation for him. And the funding of the foundation is primarily through the golf tournament, which we started last year and had a terrific turnout for the first year. There's still spots left in the golf tournament. That's coming up a week from this Saturday. And also you can make donations to the foundation directly to help these young people. The tournament, like so many fundraisers this year, has had to be rescheduled twice. Yeah. Ordinarily, this is a springtime event, but because of the challenges with COVID, it has been moved. So, Paul, I think he's going to be able to put the Facebook page up on the screen now that you can see. And Nicholas is spelled like Jack Nicklaus because his dad and his uncle were huge fans of the Golden Bear. So when they named Nicholas, they spelled it Nicklaus. So Nicholas Bolner Foundation. We're raising money next week, and so if you want to come out and play golf, you want to come out and see me play really bad golf, this is probably my one golf outing of the year, and donate to a great cause. We're going to be out there a week from Saturday in Berwick. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good. Yeah. You know, the first time that we've kind of come in here and didn't have really any breaking, updating, world-changing news that we had to react to from last night. So that's an improvement from what it's been the last couple of days.
To talk about the great game last night, the great Game 7, if we wanted to. We probably get to that.
I kind of missed on that being a high-scoring affair.
The two guys that have lit up the scoreboard, in Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell, this is the first series ever where two players went over 50 points twice in the same series. I thought there was a lot of nervousness, a lot of nervous energy. It felt like, even with no crowd, it felt like a Game 7. And if you saw the anguish on Donovan Mitchell's face as he collapsed to the floor when the last shot went in and out, and would have been a 1-point victory, and the margin between these two teams was that close. It was two exciting games. If you want to watch the basketball, and I know the politics get to a lot of people, but if you just want to watch the basketball has been pretty doggone good. The Celtics overcame a double-digit deficit to beat the Raptors and go up 2-0 on the defending champs, and then a game 7 that comes down to literally the last possession. And so that was a lot of fun. We get into that for sure.
Yeah, and it could be a postseason that you might see a potential star being born right before you. Guy going from a good player to a star.
Two of them, huh?
Yeah,
really both. I would say that both of those guys have elevated their stature, and they were both terrific players before this. For Pelicans fans, it's a little bit bitter because Jamal Murray was a guy that they could have drafted, and they had a choice. This was part of the short-sightedness of the previous regime, and I understood why they did it. They were trying to build a contender as fast as they could around Anthony Davis, and so they did not want to wait on draft picks to develop. They were trying to go for they made trades for established veterans, or they went with, in this case, the more experienced college player, which was Buddy Hield.
Yep.
Now, the word was at the time that Buddy Hield was the better player that moment. At the moment that they drafted him, Buddy Hield was a better player than Jamal Murray, but Murray had much higher upside. He was almost 4 years younger at the time. And so did you want to wait on him to develop? Now, Buddy Hield has turned into a terrific player. He averaged right at 20 points a game for Sacramento this year. He's got a player efficiency rating of 16, which was second highest on the team. Buddy Hield has turned into a good player. He wasn't the effective player as a rookie that he is now either.
Right.
But I think when you say is Buddy Hield has been a really good player, maybe
never be a star though.
He will never be a superstar.
Yeah.
Okay. Murray is right there on his way to being a superstar. They did that for years. They were trying to. It was constantly find a vet. When you finally did keep a draft choice, take the older, more experienced player. You sacrificed in the long term. Just had to kind of throw that in there, and they're back-to-back picks at 6 and 7. But it was terrific watching a game 7. This is what the sport's built around, right? The game 7s, the ones that you remember. And for a while there, it looked like Denver was going to kind of pull away and put it to bed. And Rudy Gobert went through a stretch late in the third, early in the fourth quarter, where he just kind of took over the game and got Utah back in it, because Mitchell did not shoot the ball particularly well last night. In fact, he didn't shoot it well by his standards at all. But it was still a really good game.
It felt like a game 7 in the bubble. We were kind of wondering what it's going to feel like. What's the playoff atmosphere going to feel like? And that one had the feel of a full arena game 7 as much as you possibly can, with not having fans in the crowd and it being this very unique situation. So again, it wasn't the prettiest basketball game that these two teams have played, but credit Denver, man. They put their head down. We wondered, could they do it? Could they win that many games in a row? They do it. The Celtics and what they've done to the Raptors so far, that's a little bit surprising, I think, to a lot of people. When we were talking about Coach of the Year, I think that was either earlier this week or late last week, Brad Stevens never came out. And that's a guy that has his team right there yet again in the hunt. They were 48-24 on the season. They lead the defending champs 2 games to nada right now. And he's done it without Hayward in the lineup, which he's had to do for a lot of Hayward's career in Boston.
He has. And if you watch that game, it was the Marcus Smart show for about 8 minutes. He couldn't miss in the third quarter. He had 5 threes. I want to say he made five 3-pointers and 6 shots.
Yep.
And just was absolutely couldn't miss for a good portion of that third quarter, and that's what put Boston in command of the game. That was also fun and compelling basketball to watch. There's one little note I wanted to run this by you guys. This is kind of a little side note in the series between Denver and Utah. Gary Harris came back for game 6 and 7, and Gary Harris was not exclusively on Donovan Mitchell, but he guarded him a decent amount. And if you saw the last possession, the second to last possession that they had, the last possession before the last shot, Donovan Mitchell was going to the hoop, and Gary Harris poked it away. I'm not saying it was just because of Gary Harris, but in the series, Donovan Mitchell was shooting 55% from the floor. Last night he shot 41% from the floor. Yeah. They got one of their rotational defensive pieces back. I don't know if Gary Harris was worth 2 points, 4 points, 8 points last night defensively in what he was able to do when he was on Murray. All I know is they won by 2 points, and I think he's worth at least that.
We talked about so many times, great teams have a 3-and-D guy, that they know they can count on in almost every situation. And we could go back and we could list all the 3-and-D guys that have been on championship rosters, but every team needs one that they can always count on, and something the Pelicans will be looking for in the offseason.
Look at that. You see what we did there? We did two things in the open. We talked about actual games, and we promoted a good cause. I feel very good about the start of today's show. Terrific. There's a lot to get to. Nicole Auerbach will be with us in hour number 2. Today's ongoing soap opera with what's going on in the Big Ten. Conor O'Gara will be with us in the 2 o'clock hour. Dr. Etheridge will be with us in the 2 o'clock hour as well. We will talk with him about the latest as we get closer and closer to the start of the season. We are brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. We got news out of Saints camp. Saints are practicing as we speak. We'll get to that when we come back here. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All your property maintenance needs. Gotro's Outdoor Power. 2 locations, Airline at 74 in Gonzales, Airline at Industrialplex in Baton Rouge, and our friends over at SCAG offering you now 60 months interest-free financing on all of their zero-turn units. Free delivery, and the best parts inventory in the South means you'll never have to wait for service after the sale. Gotro's Outdoor Power, not just trimmers and blowers, edgers, but also generators. If you hey, listen, we've already gone through a couple of storms here. If you want that generator, you make you the best price right now at either location of Gotro's Outdoor Power.
Don't forget, the slogan is, we make it easy, because that's what they do over at Gotro's Outdoor Power. Hanny mentions that free delivery. They're going to make it as easy as possible for you to get that SCAG equipment that we always tell you about. SCAG set up for performance and comfort. You can check them out online at GoTrosOutdoorPower.com. That's Gotros. We make it easy.
Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection clean. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Product.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Pluckers. Tigers and Saints are back on the practice field. We'll have camp updates for you. And is the Big Ten going to play this fall? We'll have the latest. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Along with Jacob Hester, I'm Charles Hanagriff. The Saints made it out to the practice field about 15 minutes ago. The workout moved up a little bit. And Alvin Kamara, unless something went sideways in the last 15 minutes, is out there with them. So the latest on this is that the sides are apparently a lot closer than what you would have been led to believe yesterday when Josiah Anderson went with the story that the Saints were open to trading him. When the story advanced a little bit, which was that 4 teams had made overtures towards trading for Alvin Kamara, and that the Saints were looking for a first-round pick if they did move him. You kind of it was sort of obvious to me what was going on here. This is 2 sides leaking different information. Okay, this is Kamara's side, which is his agent, and this is the organizational side, which is like, listen, you're not what the organization is saying. This is what I heard. Tell me if you heard it this way. We're going to give you a deal that is a fair market value. We believe that the fair market value has been established with Derrick Henry and with Dalvin Cook, which is about $12 to $12.5 million a year. Their contracts are very similar, about half of it guaranteed. It is not Ezekiel Elliott's contract. It is not Christian McCaffrey's contract. But this is where we got you, okay? And the 4 teams that are making overtures, to me, that's the agent. He's saying, okay, there's other teams out there. There's interest in him. And the organization coming back and saying, dangle a first-round pick and we'll talk. For any team that is dangling a first-round pick, they've also got to come to terms with Kamara on a contract, or the trade doesn't make any sense. So you have to be willing to part with a first-round pick. Yep. You have to be willing to give him a long-term deal, which I don't think the $12 million a year, 12 to 12.5, is out of line. I said that yesterday. I would give Alvin Kamara Derrick Henry's contract. That would be my ceiling, but I would go there. The first round pick is to basically say, listen, we're not giving him away. And if that sounds a little bit harsh, think of it this way. The Saints don't really want to trade Alvin Kamara. They've got a guy that knows the system cold. It's a good, by all accounts, a good locker room guy. He's a great fit for what they do. He is completely healthy for the first time in a while. And they think of themselves as a Super Bowl team. They could sign Leonard Fournette, okay? And they might. I don't know. How he would fit is anybody's guess. He's still a talented guy in his prime. So from a football standpoint, I got no problem, if they want to take a look at Leonard Fournette, especially since he's going to come quite cheap. But it doesn't mean they want to move Alvin Kamara. Right. If they're forced to, if he would have come in and said, I want Christian McCaffrey's contract or else, well, no, you weren't as productive as Christian McCaffrey, and you're coming off of an injury, and no, we're not giving you that deal. I want Ezekiel Elliott's deal. No, same reasons. Okay, well, here's the deal that's on the table. We will pay you, but we would really rather not trade you. We don't have to. That's not going to do us. If they trade Alvin Kamara and get a first-round pick, that is not going to do them any good when they tee it up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next Sunday.
This isn't a team that needs to worry about 2021.
They don't want to worry about 2020.
They don't need to. And even going back into the draft selection of Cesar Ruiz, that's one of the things that we talked about because we didn't really know where he was going to fit. We didn't know what the Larry Warford situation was, but that's why I think some of us had questions that night because we wanted to know, wait a minute, you're a team going after it all. You don't care about next season. Next season is so far in the future that you can't even see it because it's win now in New Orleans. So, yeah, a first-round pick for Kamara at this point, normal years, yeah, maybe you do take it if you don't have that Super Bowl window that the Saints are in right now. So they need to do everything they can to win now. And there's probably, conversations that are going on with the front office saying, the production, it's been a little down. It's still been good. It's been a little down. When you put the total yardage up there, which is what we did yesterday, this is kind of where it falls. You've missed, a game in 18, 2 games in 19. You played injured a lot. How much of that's going to continue? Because after a while, it can't be wait till he gets healthy. You got to get healthy.
Yeah.
So the Saints, I'm sure, are having probably more conversations than we're thinking because us sitting here as fans or people who break down the team, we just see Alvin Kamara being a mismatch and fitting the offense and all the things that you just said. But there's probably a couple of things at the Saints front office. They want to make sure they're ironed out first. They want to know, okay, what is his health? Is this going to be something that lingers on? What if we give him 4 years and he comes out next year and he rushes for 680 yards and only has 400 yards receiving, right? What if those numbers continue to decline? So there's going to be a lot on the medical staff for the Saints are going to come into play. They're going to be in almost all these meetings talking about this certain player. So I know reports are he's going to return to practice today. I think that you have to make the move because you're in that window. Even if you don't get the third or fourth year of production through that contract, it's still a deal that you might have to do to make sure you have the best possible team in Drew's possible last season.
You guarantee half, and that essentially puts you on the hook for the first half of the deal, and then you can cut the dead money without too big of a hit in the last 2 years of the contract if he doesn't get there. I think the agent is bluffing a little bit here because, as you said, nobody is sure that he's completely healthy. Nobody but the Saints has seen him every day. Haven't seen him in a preseason game. Haven't seen him in a scrimmage, and knew that he was hurt last year. I don't know for sure that there's a $50 million deal out there for Alvin Kamara with another team. He's not an every down back.
No.
And there's no guarantee that he would be as productive somewhere else in, I don't know, Seattle or Arizona or anywhere else other than New Orleans. It's been a perfect marriage, but there's another reason. The salary cap is probably going to go down next year. It was 198.
I think it stays the same.
Okay.
But it's not going up, to your point.
Yes, it's not going up. So the team cap for 2020 is $198 million, a little over $198 million. The doomsday scenarios are that it goes down to 175, roughly a 12% drop. That's the doomsday scenario. So let's say it stays flat. Is that deal out there for Kamara somewhere else? The Saints are treading water on the salary cap next year as it is, and they're still willing to do this deal because they do cap gymnastics as well as any team in the league. But they do cap gymnastics based on the fact that the cap goes up every year. I think we can safely say that the cap ain't going up next year. That a flat cap is probably a best case scenario, and they're still willing to do this deal. I don't know if anybody else is willing to do this deal. But at any rate, Kamara going back to practice suggests that they might not be as far apart as some people were saying yesterday. And in fact, that was an ESPN report today, which is that, hey, you know what? They're really not all that far apart. They don't have to find Kamara the mandatory $40,000 a day because he's still on his rookie deal. So the little 3-day vacation, let's get everybody's attention, doesn't hurt him financially. If he was a vested veteran, it would cost him $120,000. That's not in play here either. So hopefully they'll be able to knock all this out, and it looks like Kamara did go back to practice at the top of the hour. If he didn't, we haven't heard otherwise. Let me ask you about Leonard Fournette, though, because that's a whole different thing. He cleared waivers after the show yesterday, which means that nobody claimed him for what would have been the $4.1 million he would have counted against this year's cap if anybody had claimed him. This lends credence to Jacksonville's claim that they couldn't get anything for him. Why wouldn't you just trade him a 7? Because if you trade a 7, you have to pay him 4.1. And Leonard Fournette is not going to make – nobody thought that Leonard Fournette was worth $4.1 million next year. Nobody. Okay? They had 2 chances. Every team in the league had a chance to trade for him. That news travels fast. Every team in the league had a chance to pick him up. 0 for 2 times 31. So now you can go sign Leonard Fournette for less than $4.1 million, maybe half, maybe 2/3, maybe $1 million prove-it deal. I don't know. If you're the Saints, are you interested? Now, this is the Latavius Murray role here.
Absolutely.
You're talking about a younger, more productive, and potentially cheaper alternative than Latavius Murray.
So as I look at this, and we talked about it the other day, anytime you go back to your hometown, it's difficult because
Tell everybody why.
You're going to get ticket requests. You're going to get, hey, let me borrow something requests. You're going to probably get people coming out of the woodwork. Hey, remember me? I'm your cousin twice removed from your mother's side. I mean, you're going to have all of that. And there's even when you play like one game in your home state, like when we come and play the Saints, I just like get ready for it. And I tell you, my wife's taking all the calls, all the requests. Just send them to her. If we play in Dallas, which is obviously close to Shreveport, hey, send them to my wife. I don't have time to deal with that. So I always look at that when somebody talks about going home. And sometimes the homecomings can work well, but I just think when you look at what he could give this team, they already have a guy. No, he's not the player that Leonard is by any means. I think Murray's a good player, but he's not Leonard Fournette, but he's good enough in that spot. And they've already got him built in, his contract built in to what he can do for you. So I know Matt. I listened to Matt yesterday. I know Matt's a big proponent of making that deal. And I understand the ooh and ah of it because it's Leonard Fournette. He's available, and you could use some help at the running back position depending on what happens with Kamara. But since you already have a guy in that place, I think there's other places for Leonard Fournette once eventually that deal, because somebody's going to offer him a deal. I think there's places that could be better for his career. There's teams that are more running back hungry than the New Orleans Saints are.
I agree with the last part of what you're saying. I'm really torn on this one, okay? Because when he's right, he's a better football player than Latavius Murray right this second, okay? And the price tag, which is, I have to bring this up every time. Jimmy used to get aggravated with me. Anytime I'm talking about an NFL player, there's a price tag along the side of him. It's, hey, that guy's really good if he's a third-round pick, and not really good at all if he's a first-round pick. At $1 million.
Why do you always pick on third-round picks?
Just a number. I could have said fourth round. I'll start saying fourth round pick, so I don't offend you. A guy that costs $8 million and a guy the same guy costs $1 million. I think very differently about at a mega deal, at a $4.1 million deal. Even I'm not that excited about Leonard Fournette. At $1 million, he's essentially, wait for it, free. He's essentially free. He gets a 1-year prove it deal in his hometown on a team with a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They get a guy that should not be available based on his talent level that is available, and we all know why. He's had off-the-field issues. He's had locker room issues. Is Leonard Fournette focused and in the right frame of mind to come into a veteran, stable locker room and be a part of that? I don't know. I can't answer that, okay? Just based on straight production, age, and cost.
This is his best year last year.
It's a no-brainer, okay? If I knew that I could get that amount of production out of Leonard Fournette for somewhere between $1 and $2 million, then it's easy. I have to show Murray the door, and I give him the job. But I don't know if Leonard's commitment level is there. You got to be on time to all the meetings. You got to get along with all of your teammates. You got to be there on game day, not stretching across the field, getting in a fight and getting yourself suspended. If I knew all of those things were in place, which I don't, this would be a no-brainer of a sign. I'm really torn.
So Alvin Kamara last year was 22nd in rushing, 4th as far as receiving yards by a running back. Leonard Fournette was 7th in rushing, and he was 5th in receiving yards by a running back. And so when you start matching those productions up, well, you're saying, well, why wouldn't you go get that guy? Why wouldn't you go make that move? And I think that any team that signed Leonard, their fan base wouldn't be like, why do we sign that guy? But also you got to look at it from his perspective. You know, does Leonard, and I don't know where his mindset is, does he want to say, you know what, I've been in a dumpster fire. I've been in a toxic franchise my entire career. I want to go to New Orleans for a year. I want to go somewhere that's, has stability to it, that I can learn and grow there because of what I've been in. You know, I don't know that. Or does he say, you know what, I'm going to go to another dumpster fire. I'm going to go to Washington because their best running back is 36 years old and Adrian Peterson. I can probably get some carries there. What does Leonard right now, what is he valued? Does he want to go to a bad team and continue to put up monster numbers? Does he want to go to a more stable team, learn, grow, whatever you want to say, resurrect his career for a year, and then the next year go get the stats and go get more money?
I would go with the second part of it for this reason. There's not a big payday out there for him. There's just not. If there was a big payday in Washington, you said, listen, you got to go play for that team and that owner in that organization, but it's 4 times as much money as you're going to get anywhere else. That deal's not there. If it was, they would have picked him up on waivers. So I would go.
I don't think it's money. I think it's numbers, production, and pride of having 1,000-yard season.
Well, you can do that other places where you don't have to go into a bad team situation.
But right now, who has a running back availability?
Well, we're talking about the Saints here for a minute.
Okay, and let me throw this one to you. If this wasn't Leonard Fournette, who didn't play at LSU, and we're talking about the team down the road, and you saw Alvin Kamara and you saw Murray right now and what they have, would you be lobbying for them to sign a running back?
Well, if I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to think if we're trying to keep these things close to home because we root for both teams.
Melvin Gordon, okay? If Melvin Gordon were available for this amount of money right now, I would say you'd have to take a look at him. Okay, as it was, Melvin Gordon. Do you think Melvin Gordon is better than Latavius Murray just this year?
No.
Okay. Maybe that's a bad example.
And I'm low on Melvin Gordon compared to other people. I understand your point. You're thinking first round pick. Just got paid by Denver when they already have Phillip Lindsay.
Yeah. So let's say for the moment that he wouldn't have gotten paid, that he would have just been, he would have just been a free agent out there that you could have signed on the cheap. I would have taken a strong look at Melvin Gordon. I think he's a little bit better than Murray at this point in his career. So I'm trying to take the Louisiana part out of it and just put the football part. If I'm Fournette, there's one thing that would come to my mind very, very quickly, and it's that for the first time maybe ever in my life, Pee Wee football, junior high football, St. Aug, LSU, Jacksonville Jaguars. If I sign with the Saints for one time in my life, I'm not going to be running into a stack box. Maybe the first time ever in my life, I guarantee you, I'm gonna have a fair numbers fight up at the line of scrimmage. Because if there's anything Sean Payton does better than anybody in the game right now, it's he gets the numbers to his advantage. He gets matchup advantages. He's the absolute best in the business at it. We'll take a break. Come back with more. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Our friends at Tiger Air and the American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning System, the one I've got in my house, the one that saves me money every single month. You know, every month I go to the mailbox, I get that energy bill. I know when I open it up, it's going to be a little bit less because of Tiger Air and the American Standard. Listen, when they put this unit into my house, I saw an immediate decrease in my energy bills because of the efficiency of the unit, the programmable thermostat that you can change from your cell phone, program it to your daily schedule so you don't have to worry about remembering to adjust the thermostat every time you leave the house. It adds up to savings every single month.
Remember, maintenance is key, and that's why we tell you about the Comfort Assurance Protection Plan for your air conditioning and heating equipment. Discounts on parts and labor. You'll get that seasonal maintenance that we always tell you about and priority service included in that protection plan. We know how valuable an air condition can be in South Louisiana. Don't forget, the winter eventually will be here as well. Make sure that you get that seasonal maintenance through that protection plan from Tiger Air. You can find more information, tiger-air.com, and always give them a call at 225-754-8687.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Join us for a Wednesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from City Slice Bites and Pizza over on Chime Street, right outside the campus of LSU. Come say hi or tune in 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Hey, you know what Saturday is? Among other lots of things, actually, but I've got one specific I want to ask you about. Don't you hate it when people do that? Hey, you know what Saturday is? I don't know.
It's a day where I get multiple college football games.
It's
I
like
do know
September
that.
the 5th, right? It is cut down day in the NFL.
Didn't even know that was coming up. Forgot about it.
Exactly. So a week from tomorrow is the first game. The Saints are playing a week from Sunday. It still doesn't feel like it, right? Is it because the kids aren't completely back in school? Is it because your boys are still doing, the half and half thing? Or
I guess so. Because
is it that? Is it what is it? I mean, we're still. Is it because we're still in phase 2?
There's just so many other things, and not even around the world, but surrounding football that aren't the same.
Right.
That we don't know camp to look like camp. We heard Coach O say we're 4 days on, 3 days off. That's not camp. That's a normal week. And so I think
they're still a long way away though. The
still
NFL
24 days away but it still just doesn't feel, because camp hasn't been normal.
Yeah.
That we're not on a normal schedule.
Right. And I think I say this as a person that does not have children in school. I think the kids going back to school is what will be one of, if not the biggest returns to normalcy.
When they say 5 days a week, my kids will be on the first thing smoking.
Right. When the kids go back to school 5 days a week, I think is when we will start to feel anything close to normal, and we're not there yet. So that's why we don't think of things. Ordinarily, we're like, hey, cut down day. We've seen 3 preseason games. The 4th preseason game doesn't really count. But Saturday is cut down day. So let me take a look at the Saints roster here for just a little bit, because there's not a whole lot of spots open. Mike Triplett did a breakdown on ESPN, and I got to tell you, I was right there with him. Ordinarily, when we do these roster breakdowns, I've got my favorites and all that. There's not a whole lot of wiggle room here.
This was a hard team to make, regardless of a situation of an offseason.
One rookie free agent is slated to make this team right now. So at quarterback, the 3 that you've got. Tommy Stevens is going to make the roster, but he's going to make it as a tight end. They're going to keep 4 running backs, Kamara, Murray, Ty Montgomery, and Dwayne Washington. The 5th wide receiver is probably up for grabs right now. Thomas and Sanders at the top. Traquan Smith's going to make the team. Deontay Harris, of course, is going to make the team as a receiver/returner. And then the 5th guy, that's the tough call.
Real quick, and I do have a thought on the receiver battle, but I also want to go back to the running back. You mentioned 4 guys. We had that full conversation, and I did a bad job of not mentioning Ty Montgomery in that. Ty Montgomery is a very versatile back.
He is.
When we have Flynn on and we start talking about Aaron Rodgers and running backs he's had in his career, we kind of make the joke, his running back was wearing 88. Well, that was Ty Montgomery.
Yeah.
And he was a very versatile player for the Green Bay Packers. He was a starting running back there. This is a guy that has a skill set that if Kamara did miss time, no, he's not Alvin Kamara.
No.
He's a pretty good football player for a few games.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a roster move that the Saints made with that in mind. There's no question.
Is it because we made Flynn talk about football for like that entire show that day? The reason he hasn't been back since?
Well, so you can't hide money, and he's been in Florida for a month.
Okay.
And I think he actually finally got back, I believe, yesterday.
Okay.
So maybe?
All right. Call him. You guys know.
Well, him answering and me having his number, 2 different things. But to your point about the 5th receiver, we know that the top 2, no question. And Traquan Smith is make or break year for him, but he's
going to make the team
for sure on the team. Harris is going to be your returner, so that 5th spot. We've heard Emmanuel Butler's name a ton. His name's come out a ton in training camp, and he's got Benny Fowler here. Now, is that going to come down to which guy's better on teams?
And that's Fowler.
Right. When you're the 5th receiver, yeah, Butler's made some plays on offense, not enough to dethrone Traquan Smith because Harris is your returner. So, yeah, he's listed as a receiver, but he should be listed as a returner because that's going to be what he does for your football team. But when you start getting into the 5th receiver, the 4th running back, you better be a special teams war daddy.
And that's where they like Fowler because I think if you were looking for the most consistent receiver out of all the guys, it'd probably be Austin Carr.
Yeah.
That was the guy that Breeze liked. And if you wanted to do the guys who had maybe made the biggest impact in camp, but you didn't know what they would do on special teams or on Sunday, Emmanuel Butler and LaJordan Humphrey. Both of those guys. And we've even heard Marquez Callaway's name a little bit. But the 5th receiver position is up for grabs for sure. They're going to keep 3 tight ends in Cook, Hill, and Troutman. And in Tommy Stevens, you want to consider him a quarterback. You want to consider him a tight end. You want to consider him a slash or whatever. He's going to make the team. The offensive line, there's one caveat with the offensive line that I'll get to in a second. But the starters are Armstead and Ramczyk at the tackles, Pete and Ruiz at the guards, and McCoy at center, or if you prefer, Ruiz at center and McCoy at guard, however they do that. Nick Easton, Will Clapp, Ethan Greenridge will all make the team. Now, you get to James Hurst, the veteran, who is going to make this team, but has to serve the first 4 games of the season on a suspension.
Yep.
So throw in another name. Could be Cameron Tom. Could be Jordan Steckler. Could be Patrick Omeme. I can't tell you that, but I think that's Hurst's spot after week number 4. So that's the way I see that. The only rookie that's undrafted rookie that's scheduled to make the team, and it's going to be close, is defensive lineman Malcolm Roach.
Yep.
The rest of the defensive line, these are all veterans. I mean, you're going to recognize all these names: Cam Jordan, Marcus Davenport, David Onyemata, Malcolm Brown, Sheldon Rankin, Shai Tuttle, Trey Hendrickson, Mario Edwards, and Carl Grandison. That's it. In fact, Magnus Hunt is probably not going to make the team. Those are all veteran guys. Roach gets the last spot probably
on the team. Probably.
Yeah. Linebacker, they think Kiko Alonso is going to start the season on the PUP list, so that leaves Demario Davis, Alex Anzalone, Zach Bond, Craig Robertson, and Kadeen Ellis. Again, all veteran guys, all guys that you know.
Yeah, outside of Bond, as we've heard.
Yes, I'm sorry, but Bond the rookie.
But as we've heard, they think of him as a guy that can handle everything as a rookie.
Mm-hmm. The last couple of spots in the secondary could be interesting. The locks are Lattimore, Jenkins, Williams, or Janoris Jenkins and Malcolm Jenkins, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who I think has changed his name, P.J. Williams, Justin Hardy, J.T. Gray, Patrick Robinson. The last one, Saquon Hampton, maybe Keith Washington Jr. Keith Washington II would be an undrafted rookie that's got an outside shot to make the team.
Depends on if you want to pay a veteran in that spot. Honestly, looking at it, I don't think you need to. I think you've got enough experience at that safety position where Swearinger doesn't have to make the squad because he's going to command even at a minimum value, he's going to be a bigger salary.
So you got a shot there for one guy. And then the specialists are locked in with Lutz, Morstead, and Wood as your deep snapper. There's not anybody on this projection that I'm like, man, I can't believe they would cut that guy. Or, man, that guy's got to make the team. They got to find – like the year that Michael Lewis blew everybody away, they're like, look, man, we got to let go of a veteran because we got to keep this cat. And they found a way to do it. There's nobody that I know of that's like, man, look, they got to find something to do with that guy because they can't let him go. Or I can't believe this guy's not going to make the team. There's no name out there that jumps out at me.
I don't even know if there was preseason games, Hanny, if there was going to be much room to make this squad.
Well, somebody would have had a chance to turn ahead, and they didn't have that chance, so we'll never know. But probably not. They would have to really try.
It wouldn't have been a typical year where you make 2 plays in a preseason game and you're a coaching staff and you talk your way into keeping the guy for a couple of weeks.
But somebody would have made another team, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you make maybe you make the Raiders because the Saints cut you, but you look good in the preseason. Take a break here. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
A lot of property improvements being done during the summertime months and during the cleanup from Hurricane Laura. A lot of things that had to be done. Well, if you're going to dig for any of these projects, you got to call 811 first. Do it 2 days before you plan to dig. Let the experts come out and mark all the locations of the buried lines on your property. Some of them are very shallow. You hit one, it's going to be a problem. I don't know what kind of problem. You don't want to know either because whether it's water or electricity or gas, it's going to cause problems for you or your neighbor. So don't be that guy.
Yeah, fellas, you don't want to come in the house and have to tell the missus, hey, I just got rid of power for the entire neighborhood, right? Virtual learning. You don't want to knock out that Wi-Fi. Don't be that guy. Extremely easy. Call 811 before you dig. Hey, and if you want more information, go to Louisiana811.com. Not only can you get that information, but you can also submit an online ticket on the website. But look, just pick up the phone. Make it easy. It's simple, and it's free and the law. Call 811 before you dig.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thank.
Coming up on Thursday's Off the Bench, the latest on Alvin Kamara as the Saints, as the Bucs are quickly approaching. Also, where will Leonard Fournette land? Chef Michael Johnson answering Munchie's questions, and Chad Durbin talking MLB. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Nicole Auerbach from The Athletic will be with us at the top of the hour. A few comments out of the Bayou Ford chat on YouTube, which you can get on right now and ask us some questions. A little bit of pushback on Austin Carr. Austin Carr, the numbers have never been anything. I'm not going to argue that point. Most of his buzz largely came from Drew Brees when Brees was kind of talking him up last camp. But we've seen a lot of, I'm just going to say, camp receivers that have generated a lot of buzz. Austin Carr generated buzz because of what Brees said about him. Emmanuel Butler generated a lot of buzz because of some of the dazzling plays he had made in practice. But at the end of seasons, you've seen the Saints really scramble for a third receiver. You know, when they brought Dez Bryant back, when they brought the guy that used to play for the Broncos, I'm blanking on his name, the receiver. They brought him in for a week or two, and he didn't even make. They've constantly been searching for that other guy, and you know, little Jordan Humphrey for a while there was making some waves, but none of them. And then Traquan Smith, who was the guy that they drafted to do all of this, has never quite lived up to what they want. So if you're asking where's the Austin Carr love coming from, last year came from Brees, but it was practice love, it was camp love, it wasn't 3rd and 10 against the Falcons love.
Right, but that's more of a coaching thing. Every team I've ever been on, there's been a receiver that has not been a top guy that will get in there with the one quarterback and he'll make 3 or 4 plays and the guy will love him because he's like, I can trust this guy? This is a guy we're counting on.
That's a word. Brees used to always use that word when he talked about Lance Moore. That's how Lance Moore made the team. It's like, hey, man, you know, Lance Moore, he's not the biggest, not the fastest. I trust him. I know where he's going to be. He's going to do whatever he's supposed to. If he needs to run a route at 16 yards, he's going to run a route at 16 yards and not 16 and a half.
When I was in San Diego, it was Randy McMichael at the tight end position for Phillip Rivers. He knew Randy was going to be where he was supposed to be, and he was going to clean up a mess. And he made the team probably an extra year because of that. Bubba Caldwell, when I was in Denver, Will Payton could trust him to be, if he had to play, to come in and give him the same look as if Demaryius Thomas was in there or if Eric Decker, whoever it was. He knew Bubba was going to know the playbook, and he was going to do it at a veteran level. Probably got an extra year because of that. So that plays. The coach is listening. Now, it might not be getting in the game to be a guy, but it's also, if it hits the fan, that's who the quarterback trusts. I'd rather him be in that position than a young guy who has a little bit more talent.
Is it because he can throw the ball almost without looking? Like, I know this guy's, I know exactly where he's supposed to be on the field. If I'm under pressure, I don't have to look and make sure he's there. Is that it?
So I'll give you an example of a route. I think everybody knows an 8 route, a post route. And if you have an 8 route, and if it is an 8 that is a bang 8, which is a little bit different of a route, you put the rookie in there, you put the more talented guy in there, the young player, well, he might run it like a true 8. But a veteran player, a guy that you can trust, a guy that you've seen do it before, you know he's going to be there, and that just allows you to play faster. When you know that the 8 route is going to be a little bit different and the other guy's going to run it just like it is on the paper, just like it's drawn on the car. Well, that's how he's going to run it. The other guy who you trust, you know, he's going to find that little crease. He's going to get into that window. You know that window's there because of the coverage, because you've already pre-snapped that. And yeah, you're gonna know, all right, my back's got this pickup. I'm going to throw it right where I know he's going to be, not where the car chose him to be.
Is how many times we always see these plays and a quarterback will throw it right to a defender. It's like, who are you throwing to? How many times is that the guy was supposed to be there and it's not really the quarterback's fault? Half the time? More than half the time?
More than half the time.
Yeah.
More than half the time, the coverage is dictating what he's supposed to do with the football. And in practice, and I know we're coming up, but in practice, the quarterback knows he went the wrong way and throw it to the defender anyways to prove his point. Not a game,
right?
but in practice he'll do it.
Yeah. Take a break. Nicole Auerbach when we return. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
This is big. Really big. I mean really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Janney King, the
Hand Injury Lawyers. Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hour number 2 brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Joining us here at the beginning of the second hour is Nicole Auerbach from The Athletic, who has done a terrific job at covering all of the twists and turns that have taken place here as we get ready for college football. Nicole, I almost feel like I could open up and just say, Big Ten, your thoughts, and just kind of let you go from there. But I'll ask it this way. Is the Big Ten closer to playing football in the fall today than they were a week ago at this time?
No, they're in the exact same place. It's been a very frustrating few weeks, obviously, for players, for coaches, for fans and parents. Absolutely. Like that is across the board, athletic directors. Like there's been clearly all the frustrations, all the messiness. It's all been playing out publicly. But, this is a season that is postponed in the Big Ten. They're not starting tomorrow night as they were originally scheduled to kick off. They are not looking at October start dates. That is something that is being floated from the coaches' side of things because they would love to get back as soon as possible. But the models that they are looking at, which, by the way, they still need to set the threshold on medical guidelines, basically benchmarks that they're going to need to hit before they can resume play and ramp up to training camp and things like that. So they still need to figure out what those numbers are and what that threshold is. In testing and contact tracing, community transmission rates, all of the things that could potentially be tied to that. They need to do that first. And then they're going to look at the restart models. And there's the one that has, a start date, the end of November after Thanksgiving. That is one possible outcome. But everyone I talk to who's involved and on these committees or around these committees says that January is still the most likely time frame. And that's where you've heard coaches publicly support that because you start as early as possible, so that you're trying to disrupt the fall 2021 season as little as possible. So basically, we're exactly where we were a week ago, where you have subcommittees looking at these issues, starting to figure out the medical benchmarks, and looking at these proposed schedule models. And, people can get excited about public pressure. They can be excited about a phone call from the president. But even resources, involving rapid testing is just one piece of the puzzle. There were a lot of pieces to the puzzle to decide to postpone. So there's no way to immediately reverse that because all of the other factors are still at play. And by the way, it is postponed. They're not playing this weekend. So when people keep talking about reversing a decision, that's not happening. We're talking about if they play at the end of November, that's a 3-month postponement. If they play in January, it's a 4-month postponement, right? It's a postponed season. So again, it's just been very frustrating for everyone around the situation, but even covering it, because there's been a lot of confusion and misinformation as well.
Nicole, do you know if every team is still having team meetings and working out and doing walkthroughs? Because if they are, I've got to imagine going in there every single day and addressing your team has got to be a headache. If you're Jeff Brom at Purdue and initially you're playing on a normal schedule, then you postpone it, then it's going to be in the spring. Well, no, then it's actually probably going to start in January. Hey, we might start in November, then October. And he's put out his color-coded schedule as far as when he thinks they might play. And he just throws all those plans in the garbage can. And I've got to imagine the questions coming from each of these teams has got to be just outlandish. So are they meeting every day to have that opportunity?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of meetings and communications. I think the hardest part right now, for coaches and players is when you don't have, that scheduling model in place, and you're still kind of in that limbo period. It's kind of going back to April and May, right, where you weren't sure when you could bring back students for voluntary workouts, and you're just kind of waiting and waiting. And, coaches love control, and they love having answers, right? I think that's what, in the immediate aftermath of the decision, when you have parents and coaches saying, what about my eligibility? What does this mean? What if I transfer? When do we play next? What do our practices even look like? How many hours do we get in the fall? Those answers weren't there at that point. And right now you have a lot more clarity from the NCAA in terms of eligibility, scholarships, the hours that you can work. And so you're really just waiting on, again, that scheduling model of what you're ramping up towards and how to structure things that way. So it's more just, a period of uncertainty, but I do think that they have more answers than they've had in the past, and there are coaches involved in the subcommittees regarding this return to play, like task force that the Big Ten has set up.
Nicole Auerbach at The Athletic is our guest. Nicole, what impact, if any, did the president's call to Kevin Warren have?
Well, I think, it's clear that the president, wants sports to resume and wants, parts of what make our lives normal and enjoyable to be back. And so I think that, applying that pressure and with it not being, and not reaching out to the Pac-12, you've got to look at the states that are in the Big Ten's footprint and think about that in terms of an election year. But, if they can have conversations about resources that the government can help provide, I think that is a positive. And I think, it's a separate conversation about wondering, should that be going to athletic teams in one part of the country versus people who need it in other areas that have outbreaks or, other parts of the country and non-athletes as well. But let's say like they are open to helping, work with them on, increased access to rapid testing, because that's going to be such an important piece of all of our lives moving forward, and schools opening and things like that, where you can get point of care access, rapid results, and you're not waiting days to get your results back. Now, testing is just one piece of the puzzle that the Big Ten used to make their decision. But certainly, when you're sending tests to labs, and there's, outbreaks in the communities, and it's putting a lot of pressure on those labs, you're not getting your results back. Those are part of the calculation when you're looking at, can you can't play fall season safely. So that, access and implementing or asking for other resources that would help offset, again, these and address the issues that caused the Big Ten to postpone the season in the first place, that's always going to be a good thing. But this is just a really early stages. Like, to me, this was more just like, the president wanting to make it clear that he wants that part of the country to be playing football because he has seen how angry so many people are that they're not. So to me, that's more, it was more of a symbolic gesture. But again, if we can get to the point where there are conversations about here's what we would be requesting, could use help with in terms of, medical equipment, contact tracing support, and rapid testing, then there could be a real impact. But again, I think the idea that one call could immediately change something that could take effect like October 1st, I think that's really wishful thinking.
Nicole, we know 3 Power 5 conferences are trying to play. We've talked about the Big Ten, and it seems like that does change on a daily basis as far as the rumors that come out. We've heard nothing from the Pac-12, really not one peep. Does that surprise you at all in the fact that nobody's really asked any questions about the Pac-12 and they haven't come out and said anything either?
Yeah, it's been very quiet out west. And it's a couple of reasons. I think, you've obviously seen the jokes and the people talking about kind of the importance of college football in those markets, right? It's not quite as fervent as it is in Nebraska, where you've got that lawsuit against the league. But I think it's also the way that the decision came down, right? That this was a unified decision. There wasn't public infighting. Coaches weren't in open revolt. And so I just think it was clear. It was more unified. The messaging was stronger. They had the medical report they put out. And it was just a cleaner process at the end when they made the decision. And that's partially what fed some of the anger in Big Ten country, in addition to the fact that, they are more upset, when they look at places like the SEC that are continuing to play, thinking that they should be, doing that right up next to them. And then you've also got the Ohio State fan base that had a team that really, could have won a national championship this year. So that's a different level of anger as well. But I think a lot of it really does have to do with kind of the cleanliness of the Pac-12's decision.
Nicole Auerbach is our guest. Nicole, from your sources inside the Big Ten, what is the expected outcome, the most likely outcome of the 8 Nebraska players' lawsuit against the league, and what are the ramifications in the aftermath of that?
Yeah, they're still moving forward, which is a little surprising because, kind of if I were them and I got the Big Ten to put out their vote and the tally, I would have chalked that up as a win, say we got some transparency and walked away, because there really isn't much else that they're standing on here, for the grounds of this lawsuit. And The only really the chance that they have here is that, it's in Nebraska. And as, some of the legal experts have put out, like home cooking, right? And so I think, that's really the only hope at this point, because other elements about, like a business relationship between the school or the NFL and these players, a lot of things are quite a stretch and would be hard to prove. So I don't know what else, where else this can go, but they're not backing down for now. But I do think, the Big Ten almost put out an olive branch by giving out the information about the vote in that court filing to show, like, hey, we're going to provide some more transparency here, but like also your suit is baseless. So we'll see where it goes. But really, every lawyer I've talked to says there really isn't much there.
All right, Nicole, I'm really impressed with your multitasking, because as we're having a conversation, you tweeted Iowa State reverses course and announces no fans for its season opener. So kudos to you for being able to do that. And that's kind of news, because obviously you plan on having fans in the stands, and then all of a sudden you reverse course. Any reason to why that might have happened?
Yeah, well, Iowa as a state right now is having a lot of outbreaks, and especially the college towns, as we've seen, if you've seen any of those charts and maps. So I do think that there was a surprise that they were going to try to bring fans. And if I'm remembering correctly, it was something like 40% of the stadium. It was higher than some of the percentages we've seen in SEC country as well. You got a lot of like 20 to 25% capacities there. So I think that, people were just very, very surprised based on, like, again, the community spread and the amount of cases in the state as a whole. So I think, this is the right decision. I think, it's very hard to make decisions about not having fans at all, or, the capping the capacity in places that are, used to selling out or close to it. But I think, it's the right decision. A lot of people are kind of taking decisions like capacity, kind of like on a game-by-game basis. And I think, they'll learn from, if you get through one game, what it looked like and what it meant for spread, and, if everyone did wear their masks the whole time like they were supposed to, and things like that. So it definitely seems like the right decision to start with that and evaluate beyond, especially just considering, how many cases there are in the state and, in Ames.
Nicole, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much as always, and stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Nicole Auerbach with the Athletic.
I can barely walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, much less do an interview and tweet at the same time.
I'll tell you what else about
Impressive.
her. And she showed on Twitter many times that her dog is right there with her when she's doing work, because she's working from home. And she named the dog Red, which I think is funny. Red Auerbach, get it?
Yeah.
And the dog is very well behaved, because not once in all the times we've had her on has that dog barked in the background.
Discipline, just like those basketball teams.
And I'm not certain that I could say the same for my dogs when I've done stuff from my house. So kudos to all.
She's been incredible through this entire pandemic at covering college football. And there's been so many people that have done a hell of a job just finding ways to report everything that's going on. And she's been on top of all this mess in the Big Ten. And I'll be honest with you, I was going to ask her this, but I know nobody can answer it. When do you think they're going to start? Nobody can answer that right now. There's been and to my question, the reason I asked it, and she answered it perfectly, coaches want to have a piece of paper, and they want to say, guys, here's the schedule.
Right.
The whole time you're here, we got this whole thing planned out. And if you'll turn and you'll keep going to page 5, that's the schedule for next Friday. They want that. That's what they feed off of. That's what they've always lived by. And
you start from the first game and you work backwards, right?
Yeah. And can you imagine being? I threw Jeff Brom out there because he came up with the plan for a winter season. Can you imagine having those team meetings and be like, guys, there's news. Hey, possibly after Thanksgiving, guys. So stay ready. Make sure you're mentally in this deal. Hey, guys, it might be October. We might be starting sooner. Hey, guys, that was BS. The president called. I don't know if we can get this deal done. It might be January again. Can you? The ebbs and flows of the momentum that league has had it's got to be just nuts inside those buildings. I would drive myself crazy trying to figure out what in the hell are we doing.
How many people in the United States do you think have had that exact same problem? Are we working today? Are we working from home? Are we working from the office? Are we working at all? Can we make payroll? Can we pay our insurance? Can we pay our employees? This
Absolutely.
is symbolic of what's going on.
We here are one of the few professions
lucky
that we've never missed a day.
No.
There's not been one day that we have not been in this building reporting, doing sports. I'm talking about all of our stations, not just.
I feel exceptionally fortunate to be able to do that too. Because you're right, not a lot of people. And our building looks very different than it did 6 months ago. But yes, we've been.
Thank God we don't see
we've been afforded the opportunity to do that. Take a break here. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
And one of the effects of the pandemic, as we've told you many times, is people are now looking for jobs, looking for, more important than that, career opportunities. And that's why we tell you at Associated Grocers, they have career opportunities. Career opportunities for tractor-trailer drivers, for warehouse workers, for order selector opportunities. Great starting pay with increases at 90 days and at a year. Paid overtime for all your hours over 40. Guaranteed 40 hours a week with the potential for overtime every week. Paid time off, sick leave, 401k, meaningful benefits, flex spending accounts, and most importantly, Jacob, opportunities for growth and advancement. That's why we talk about this as a career opportunity.
Hanny, you're exactly right. This isn't something where you're only going to do it for a couple of weeks. No, this is something that you can do to really set up you and your family. AGBR.com is the website. Hey, yesterday I told you there was 14 opportunities. The day before 13, guess what? Today there's 15 opportunities on the website. Go to careers in the top right corner of the website. Printing service operator just became available today, so they're always updating this thing. Go ahead and apply for that job today over at agbr.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a new Highlander for $4,000 off MSRP. Yes, $4,000 off MSRP, and we have many in stock. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas. Happy Town.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Pluckers. Tigers and Saints are back on the practice field. We'll have camp updates for you. And is the Big Ten going to play this fall? We'll have the latest. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Okay, I got a break from the regular schedule because something just happened. This just kind of tickles me a little bit. Maybe because I called baseball games, and you always aspire to be, you always want to be the best you can be. So who's the best in your profession? Who's a baseball announcer? Who's the best guy ever to call baseball? It's Vin Scully, right? I mean, is there anybody better than Vin Scully?
Did it for a couple of years.
He called Dodger games for 67 years. It's a pretty good run. You usually don't get to go there. So 20 minutes ago, Vin Scully joined Twitter.
That's not something I ever.
Wait, this is Josh, can we play this? This is Vin Scully. He did like a little 35-second intro, and Vin Scully joined Twitter. This is what he had to say.
And a very pleasant good afternoon to you. This is Vin making his debut on social media, and it's nice to be welcomed. I'm delighted to see if I can't serve you in any way, shape, or form. We might chat about a famous date in baseball, or a player, or a team, and hopefully nothing controversial. This is strictly a meeting of friends having some fun talking about our favorite subject. So pull up a chair and be ready to join me, hopefully, in the very near future as we start our careers together on social media.
I like so many things about this, okay? First of all, Vin Scully's 92 years old, okay? He recently had I'm going to call it an estate sale. I don't want to really call it that because the man's still alive. Usually it's something when somebody has passed. But he sold a lot of his belongings, including his golf clubs. He was an avid golfer, but he's too old to golf now. He can't golf anymore, so he auctioned off his golf clubs. They were going to do this at the All-Star game. It was supposed to be at Dodger Stadium this year, but of course got canceled, and they're donating that. I forgot the cost. Anyway, so what I like about this, first of all, is that Vin Scully at 92 is welcome. We're starting a journey. I mean, this is we've been searching for positive stuff, right? Who doesn't like Vin Scully? The Giants fans like Vin Scully, and the Giants hate the Dodgers, okay? Who doesn't like Vin Scully? Who doesn't like a guy that at 92 decides he's going to start off on a new adventure, if you want to call Twitter an adventure? The other part I really liked about this, okay? At the beginning of Twitter, I don't know, maybe the inventor of Twitter had evil intentions at the beginning, or maybe he knew that it would develop into the snarky, mean, evil things that has happened.
Yeah.
But for people that discovered Twitter at the beginning, and I had to be talked into it, and there are still plenty of days where I wish that the thing would have never been invented. But wasn't the idea at the beginning like, hey, this could be a real positive thing. We could get together and share ideas and share stories and promote, some positive things and enjoy company with people that were not anywhere near. Somebody on the East Coast could communicate via Twitter with somebody like Scully on the West Coast without there being anything controversial. And I mean, it's a little bit Mr. Rogers. I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe, nearly 6 months deep into the pandemic, maybe I just need a little Vin Scully in my life. Okay. I followed him. I don't follow a ton of people, but I followed him. He's picking up about 100,000 followers per minute. Okay. I suspect he'll be, in six figures before the end of the show today. But Vin Scully joined about 25 minutes ago. And I just,
biggest surprise you've ever seen join? Because for me, it was Chipper Jones.
Why?
If you know Chipper.
And I don't. I mean, he's been on the show, but I don't know.
He is, it's like social media was just not something I ever thought. He used to kind of.
Gordy had to put me in a hammerlock, so I know what you're talking about.
It was like the old tweeter machine, what he used to call it. Yeah. But then he started to get interested in broadcasting, and it's a platform where you can have a voice and stay relevant. And I remember for me, I didn't join initially. I joined during the lockout because my marketing agent called me and he said, "Hey, I know this isn't something that you want to do, but it's a good idea because you can get some endorsement stuff in a time where you're not making any money because of the lockout. And so I joined then, and yeah, at times it's a toxic place, but I still enjoy the interactions. Even when we're trolling, SEC fan bases, we're kind of getting on each other and we're going back and forth. Like, I have fun with that kind of stuff. But I was going to ask you who talked you into it, but it sounds like Gordy.
No, it was definitely Gordy because I have true revelations here. I've never had a Facebook page. Never. Okay, I didn't have a personal Facebook page. I don't have a work Facebook page. I don't like Facebook. I don't want to use Facebook. I will dig my heels in. I hate Facebook. I'm sorry. I hate.
Well, tell us how you really feel.
I hate almost. I say I hate almost everything about Facebook. I don't hate 100% of the things about Facebook because occasionally I will get a picture forwarded to me from somebody in my family. I have grandchildren. I have a nephew. There's a lot of young kids in our family now, and I will get some pictures from people that I don't get to see. And so that would be the one thing. They could text message them to me just as easy, but sometimes they come off of Facebook. But 99% of Facebook I hate. Okay, sorry. I've heard all the arguments for and all the arguments against, and I know I'm in the media and I've been told you need a Facebook. I do not need a Facebook page. I'm not going to be on Facebook. I hate Facebook. I wish Facebook had never been invented. I think the world would be a much better place without Facebook. Okay, I long for the days where Facebook was nothing more than an idea in Mark Zuckerberg's head. Okay,
well, don't forget the idea was actually, and when it first was released, it was only college students. You had to have an @edu.
And I wish it had stayed that way.
Yeah, you had to have that
honestly,
email address. And now it's a completely different place than where it started.
Correct. Okay. So that being established, I hate Facebook. When Gordy came to me with this, he's like, we need to get you going on social media. This was, I don't know, 7, 8 years
social.
Yeah.
Push the social.
Okay. As I dug in long enough, he said, we'll get you on Twitter. It'll be better because he knew how much I hated Facebook. He said, you'll be better on Twitter. Okay, so I joined. And I've used Twitter as a tool. There are more things that I like about Twitter. I don't follow that many people. The ones I follow are almost all in media because this is where I get news. All right, it's easier to get news. It breaks faster. I consider it a useful tool for breaking news. Now, to do that, you have to steer around the toxic waste dump that is Twitter. This is why I don't follow very many opinion accounts. I don't even follow really my friends and stuff like that because they'll repost things. And it's like, listen, I don't need the latest whatever. I need to know if the Saints signed somebody or if, here lately somebody opted out. But that's how I got on it. Okay. And I still use it. I think it's a useful platform for us to be able to get, our content out, which is good. And I try not to post things that, would be of no interest to people. I'm not one of these people saying, hey, what's the deal with, blinking traffic lights? I'm not one of those guys on Twitter, okay? Or what about standing in line for the bathroom or so? None of that appeals to me. But, if the Saints sign a defensive back and one of the Saints beat writers that I follow breaks that story, then Twitter is useful to me. How did we get off on this?
I don't know. You took a shot at Moscone there because earlier today he said, why can't people in Baton Rouge figure out how to drive in a traffic circle? So that was a shot.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, you did.
And I follow Matt.
That was a shot.
I can't tell you that something completely trivial hasn't aggravated me and I haven't posted it on Twitter before. Like something is aggravated, like they rearranged the grocery store that I go to and now I can't find anything. Maybe at some point I've done that, but I try not to do very much of that. And I didn't see his tweet. Probably somebody cut him off in traffic. Who knows? Anyway, Vin Scully joined Twitter, and
that's how we started. I forgot. Scully.
Anything that we add Vin Scully to gets better. So Twitter got better today because Vin Scully joined.
Wait, who's your all-time favorite broadcaster? Who's
Al Michaels
of any sport?
Al Michaels.
Okay.
I think Al Michaels is the most talented guy ever to pick up a microphone. Vin Scully's the best baseball announcer, but if you talk about baseball, football, basketball, Olympics, he's got the most historic call of all time, in my opinion.
That's your favorite?
Yes.
That's
I think he's the most knowledgeable. I think he gets his point across the best. There's absolutely, if you listen to Michael's talk. There is absolutely no wasted phrases. There's no fat. There's nothing. He's as close to the perfect broadcaster as you could see. Michael's has always, to me, been the absolute gold standard. If you want to talk about somebody that can do anything in any sport, I think Michael's is the best.
I'm not going to sit here and argue. I think he does such a fantastic job, and I think that him and Collinsworth together do. And I know Chris has his critics, but I always enjoyed as a former player. When I would go back and I watched the TV copy, I would think he would pick up on things that a lot of people, even guys who played the game, missed on. So I can't really argue that. I know for me locally, like I love Chip Carey. I love he calls the Braves games, and obviously his family is a broadcasting family, and I think they do a fantastic job. But that is such a difficult job to hold for as long as some of these guys have done it. To keep people that happy for that long and them not call for your head,
right?
That takes something.
Well, the thing with Scully that made him so good is he called almost all of the baseball games on the radio by himself.
Yeah.
And if you've ever called a 9-inning baseball game by yourself, it ain't the easiest thing to do because you can't just talk about the baseball.
Unless you're Bob Uecker.
Of the three.
He could probably do it.
Well, yeah, no, Euchre's one of the guys that could probably do it. And Scully could do it. And when you can keep the flow of the game going and keep the conversation going by yourself for 3+ hours, it's a rare talent to be able to hold your audience as fixed as he could hold his audience. And there's an old, I guess, kind of joke in the industry that if Vin Scully starts telling a story, the inning will not end until Vin Scully is finished telling his story. They would not dare interrupt his story with the third out. And it was amazing. I mean, if you're a baseball announcer for 5 minutes, you don't start a story with 2 outs. You just don't do it. But if Vin Scully starts a story with 2 outs, he's going to finish it before the third out because he's Vin Scully.
Let him do it.
That's just how it goes. Okay, we got to kind of get off on a tangent there, but Vin Scully's on Twitter. The world's a better place. Twitter's a better place today. Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Richards Honda. You can always find them online at richardshonda.com. Don't forget, they are also hiring. You can check out all that information at richardshonda.com. A great place to work with outstanding benefits. And you know, because we tell you every single day, they've got an amazing fleet over there at Richards Honda. Go check them out, 13413 Millerville Greens Boulevard in Baton Rouge. That's I-12 and Millerville. They've got something that you'll fall in love with and drive away happy with today. You can find all those cars on richardshonda.com, but we always encourage you, go see the lot. It is incredibly impressive in their new building. Not only are you going to find a ton of cars that you're going to love, you're also going to have a great service center as well. You're going to drive right into it. It's going to be so easy for you. You can schedule that online before you show up. Go check out all the cars, all the hybrids, all the midsize, full-size SUVs we tell you about every single day. The Odyssey minivan, the Ridgeline truck. As you know, something for everybody over at Richards Honda. That's why it's home, the warm and fuzzy feeling.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at
Join us for a Wednesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from City Slice Bites and Pizza over on Chime Street right outside the campus of LSU. Come say hi or tune in 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. We got a few comments in the Facebook chat, the YouTube chat about Facebook.
Flustered.
Right. So this is the Bayou Ford chat. So a lot of different comments on. Some people agree with me about Facebook. Some people don't. I did get one calm down boomer. Actually, I'm not even a boomer.
You got the boomer.
I got a boomer. I'm technically, I think I am what they would call Generation X, but I understood the insult anyway, so it's okay. I got it. And some people talked about what they do with Facebook and what they don't. Somebody said you can play poker on Facebook now, so there's a reason for it. You can play poker other places on the internet, so I don't have to do that. But we got some questions about not questions, but comments about the best on the announcers. One question was, how would Michaels do with Peyton Manning? Michaels has adjusted to so many different partners over the year that he would be fine. I think Peyton Manning would be excellent on game telecasts or in the studio. I think you're talking about a media superstar if that's ever what he decides what he wants to do. Now, only one person at this desk has ever been in a huddle with Peyton Manning, and it ain't me. So you tell me if Peyton Manning decides to pursue a media career at some point, what he'd be the best at.
It was actually like no huddle most of the time.
Okay. Well, practice feeling.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I think he'd be fantastic. There's nothing on a football field that he wouldn't know. There's not a situation, offense or defensive-wise, that he would not have something very educated to say about. A coverage, a route concept, a blocking scheme. I mean, he would have it covered. So if I'm covering football, I know enough that I can talk about coverages and I can talk about slanting on a defensive line. I can talk about blocking schemes, but he would have it at the most expert level. I'd never seen somebody know football like he did, and he knew it before you did it. Like, he knew how to play defensive back better than you knew how to play defensive back if you were a safety. He knew every part of how to disguise the coverage and all those things. So that part of it, without question. Now, which Peyton would we get? Would we get that Peyton, or would we get the Peyton that we all kind of know and love, and the jokester Peyton, who's going to also be serious because he does it for details on ESPN.com, but he also has got a very, very funny side to him. And I like the color guy to add in some of those type of elements into.
You have to have it. You have to have it, because if all we were looking for was football knowledge, then there's a lot of guys that could do that. I mean, Joe Montana was as good a quarterback as has ever played the game, but he wasn't a very good broadcaster because he didn't. Maybe it bored him. I don't know, but or maybe he was so far advanced that he couldn't break down the concept. Peyton Manning could talk football with the top 10 football experts in the world and might know more than all of them. He may be the number one expert in the world. But you have to be able to broadcast a game not just to the football savants out there. You have to be able to broadcast it to the common fan who doesn't really care that the sixth defensive back is in a cover 3 and this is where they should attack in this zone. You have to, I don't want to say dumb it down, but you got to make it relatable to the common audience as well. And that's where the humor comes in.
And on TV, it's a little bit easier to demonstrate that because you have the teleprompter, because you can draw it up, because you have video evidence. On radio, sometimes it can be a little difficult to start talking coverages and start talking some certain blitzes. And you do have to find a way to relate it to everyone that's listening. When you give a certain play call, when you give a concept on radio, you better be able to break it down to where anyone who walks in this room that has watched a football game can understand what you're saying. He would have all that. He would just have every aspect of it. And I just don't know what his end goal is. Like, his wife is part owner of the Memphis Grizzlies. So she's got that aspect. Does he want to be that? Does he want to be an owner of
I think
team?
He does.
Does he want to be a general manager?
I think he wants to start off in a John Elway type role, which is team president, and move himself into an ownership position. That's what I think he wants to do. I think if the Saints had become available for sale upon Tom Benson's death, I think Peyton Manning would have been a very active participant. Maybe not as the primary owner, but certainly as someone with a strong ownership percentage. Yeah, that's what I think he wants to do. I could be wrong. Some other comments. Ethan says John Miller and Joe Morgan will forever be my favorites. I felt like I learned something every time I listened to Joe Morgan about the game. I love the way he broke things down. I like John Miller. I thought was good. I don't know how much chance you got the chance to listen to Joe Morgan when he was doing games.
Sure.
I like Joe Morgan.
ESPN,
and John Miller is excellent as well. William says can't stand Brent Musburger. You can tell who he bet on by the call of the third game, third call of the game. I'm not going to deny that. And we met Brent a number of times, but no, he's definitely going to sneak a little bit of that. Michaels actually does too. He calls it the rascal.
Yeah.
But Musburger's the reason I wanted to get into broadcasting, because he was the first. He was the first personality that I watched on a regular basis, because when I was growing up, the NFL Today was the gold standard. It was him and Irv Cross and Phyllis George and Jimmy the Greek, and that's what you watched. You watched that before Saints games, and this was before ESPN. This was before talk radio. I was like, man, I want to do that, and I'd still like to have a network TV gig.
So
just because of the money. I'm kidding. But no, Musburger was the reason that I wanted to get in, into this gig in the first place. Let's see. Harry Carey was pretty good. Yeah. Harry Carey was funny. Harry was the kind of guy you wanted to have. He wasn't going to break down what this guy was hitting with runners in scoring position in the month of April. But if you wanted to have a beer and sit down and watch the game, Harry Carey was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for me, Moose Johnson was the guy that I saw him do it, played the same position as me. I was like, man, he does a really nice job. I'd love to be able to do what Moose Johnson does. We know he's gritty. He's a fullback. I mean, that comes with the territory. A guy wore a neck roll. You don't wear a neck roll unless you got a little grit to you there, Hanny.
Let's see. Bob Costas. Costas to me is right there with Michaels. I like Michaels a little bit better. He's done, probably because he's done a little bit more football, and because Michaels has that one call, that one iconic call, that Olympic call that for me remains the best call in the history of sports. Do you believe in miracles? I mean, that when you hear that, there's no doubt about what event. It was one of the most monumental events in sports history. And the call was perfect. Yeah. The moment wasn't too big for him. And Michaels wasn't, at that time he had called, I think, somewhere in the area of 24 hockey games in his life.
Yeah.
And he got that.
You got that
and
call,
he nailed that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just phenomenal to me. So Costas is right there, but I like Michael's a little bit better.
College football, current college football.
Current college football on TV.
It's hard to beat Herbie.
Herb Street and Fowler, I think, do a really good job. I like Herb Street in pretty much everything he does. I'm a Herb Street fan. If you're talking just play-by-play, there's no dominant personalities the way you once had a Keith Jackson or a Lindsey
Uncle
Nelson
Vern?
or something like that. I never hated Vern Lundquist as much as a lot of people. Vern got so much hate here because it was a touchdown Alabama. It's like it's not Vern's fault that they keep winning the games. I never quite understood the hate for Vern. But Vern called a lot of LSU Alabama football games, and Alabama won more of them. And people here are just like, he's just rooting for Alabama. No, Alabama's kicking the crap out of LSU. What do you want him to do? The score is 27-0. What do you want him to make something up? So I never quite got the hate for Vern Lundquist, who is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. If you didn't care for his broadcast style, fine. But this constant, he's rooting for Alabama against LSU. No, Alabama's winning the game. I'm sorry.
He would call our preseason games in Denver.
Yeah.
And one time I was walking on the bus. I believe we were in Seattle. We were about to play the Seahawks, and he's like, "Hester, come sit by me." I'm like, "Vern knows, And you kind of forget about it, but when you're playing, and he sat there and he talked about every call, like of the big games that I played in, and he went through the list of the plays, and he's like, "Man, I really enjoyed that moment," and it was surreal for me because that's just the voice of CBS, voice of the SEC, and for him to remember those games, I thought was pretty cool.
And if you go back with Vern, you'll remember not just the football stuff, but for me, the golf. Yeah. Because he's been at the Masters forever.
Happy Gilmore.
And he called Dallas games. And Super Bowl 13, the famous call, Jackie Smith all by himself, God bless him, he's got to be the sickest man in America when he dropped the touchdown pass that, cost the Cowboys a touchdown in a 4-point game. So I never disliked Vern Lundquist. I know a lot of people here got aggravated with him, but I think they got just as aggravated over the results of the game, and Vern was like collateral damage on that. We're past due for a break. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny. Saints coverage, Chiefs, Cowboys, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night football. From the opening kickoff to the playoffs and the Super Bowl, the NFL lives on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Coming up on Thursday's Off the Bench. Latest on Alvin Kamara as the Saints, as the Bucs are quickly approaching. Also, where will Leonard Fournette land? Chef Michael Johnson answering Munchie's questions. And Chad Durbin talking MLB. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
One of those topics that just kind of took off in the Bayou Ford chat. By the way, Connor O'Gara is going to be with us from Saturday Down South at the top of the hour. But just to kind of wrap up on the topic, a lot of love for Ron Franklin. Ron Franklin did excellent work on the SEC for a long time. Ron Franklin and Mike Gottfried did excellent work. If you watched college football in the 90s and into the 2000s, they were very, very good. Stephen Miller likes Tim Brando. I'm a Tim Brando fan.
Timmy B.
Have been for a long time, and not just because I've known him forever, but I think he does an excellent job.
I feel like we've not talked about Jim Nantz here. We talked about him. Actually, we did talk about him yesterday for him throwing from the Masters to Baton Rouge for the Alabama game.
Right. Jim Nantz always has the coolest week in the sports calendar when he calls the Final Four, and after the championship game gets on a flight to Augusta and calls the Masters in a normal year, of course. Yes. That is the plum assignment of all plum assignments. But I think Nantz probably doesn't get as much run around here because he doesn't call college football, which is the king here.
Right.
And he doesn't call NFC games, so you don't catch him very much on Saints broadcasts. The Saints have to be on one of those crossover games. And for, of course, college basketball and the Masters, but it's a very finite period of time where you're talking about it's a smaller window. But I think Nantz is great.
John Smoltz is one of my favorites too. He's kind of new into it, obviously, but Smoltz does a really nice job.
Somebody else I learn from every time I listen to. So you're talking about baseball. Richie says Kyle Peterson, Chris Burke, Ben McDonald.
Oh, fantastic.
And Tom Hart on SEC baseball.
Yes.
The SEC Network's coverage of college baseball is so good. I mean, so good. And you don't take it as a given, because when ESPN was broadcasting the College World Series and they brought the pros in who had never watched a college game all year and came in to just broadcast the 10-day College World Series, it wasn't all that great.
Ooh, no,
okay,
it wasn't.
I can tell you. And CBS did the same thing. Not that those guys weren't great players, but they didn't know anything about the college game. They didn't know anything about the college players. They knew baseball, but they didn't know the storylines. They didn't know the teams. You could tell they were in it for a check, and nobody else was available because they didn't do much college baseball all year. So the SEC network setting themselves up that quickly, that good. Was
their
fantastic.
baseball coverage might be the best thing on any college network around.
It's great.
Their baseball coverage is fantastic, and we had Todd Walker on the show a bunch, DeLucci a bunch, and those guys really do their homework.
Ben McDonald is great.
If you went to LSU, you got a pretty good chance you're going to be a broadcaster by the time you finish.
Have produced some great ones, and there is universal dislike for Gary Danielson.
I've seen his name in the chat. I told you, I know we're going to. It's very tough for me to be critical of these guys because a lot of them were very kind to me in my playing career, and so I do have some favoritism just because of that.
I'm a little surprised that Danielson gets as much hate as he does, in that he shills for the SEC as much as he does. You'd think they would play a little bit better here, but he's done enough other things to, I guess, aggravate people. Connor O'Shea, when we come back from Saturday Down South, hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, it all comes down to a Game 7 tonight for the Rockets and Thunder, 8:30 Eastern ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, 9 Eastern on ESPN TV. The pressure's on Houston, which entered this NBA season as a title contender. More specifically, it's on James Harden, believes former NBA player Ryan Hollins.
When you look at James Harden, Max, am I wrong? You say, man, this guy could be the greatest scorer in history. He's unguardable. Let me tell you something, brother. If he doesn't show up ready to play, this is going to be one of the most historical meltdowns that we have ever seen.
Ryan Hollins on the Max Kellerman Show. Heat Bucks play Game 2 tonight, 6:30 Eastern, ESPN TV and the ESPN app. Miami's up 1-0. Villanova coach Jay Wright tweeting today he is not a candidate for the 76ers coaching vacancy. NFL Tyrod Taylor will be the Chargers starting quarterback for Week 1. QB Dwayne Haskins named Washington starter for Week 1. Packers rookie linebacker Kamal Martin expected to miss at least 6 weeks, recovering from knee surgery.
Download the DraftKings app and use code MAX to get a free shot at millions of dollars up for grabs this week with your first deposit. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Hour number 3, Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, and 11:30, The Tiger up in Shreveport. If you're watching along with us on CST or on YouTube, 104.5 ESPN or Hanging with Hester and Hanny page, welcome into hour number 3. Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South joins us to open the 2 o'clock hour. Connor, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Well, pretty good. We've had a game now. We got another game tomorrow night. We got some games this weekend.
Go Bears.
We're Central Arkansas fans around here. So, I mean, watching at Saturday Down South, you guys are getting into a lot of football stuff and not as much COVID stuff. So does it feel like football season to you yet? Sort of? Kind of?
You know what? It doesn't, and I say that because this past weekend, actually, my wife and I drove up to Indianapolis, which is not close to Orlando, not close, but drove round trip to be at my sister-in-law's wedding. So I didn't get to see the official start of college football weekend. So for me, it feels very different. It's still strange that we're like in the very early stages of some quarterback battles in the SEC, and this feels more like early August, and we're getting some preseason games, or like I'm just watching high school football on a Saturday night, or I'm seeing high school football highlights. Like I saw Cole Kubelek down there in like Southern Alabama doing a high school football game on ESPN. Like, to me, it doesn't feel quite like the season has started. And let's be honest, it's not really going to start until the SEC kicks off on September 26th.
Are you trying to say BYU Navy on Labor Day does nothing for you, Connor?
You know what? It does. I take that back. Navy is a sleeper this year. If they can get their quarterback situation figured out, I know that they've got to be able to do that. They've got a lot of those key backs to be able to run that offense that are returning. I kind of listed them as like a sleeper potential group of 5. They could have playoff odds sort of team. So you know what? I shouldn't say that. You're right. That was premature. I apologize to Navy for disregarding them and for BYU. That's going to be like the best game of the weekend, though, to be able to watch that on a Monday night. Granted, it's not exactly the Chick-fil-A kickoff game, the weekend that we are promised. I feel bad for those guys over there that they weren't able to be able to have their 3-game, full week of football. But it is football, and I will definitely be tuned in this Monday night.
Hey, you mentioned you are located there in Orlando. Central Florida actually has 10 guys right now opting out of this season. How big of a news is that in Orlando?
I think it's significant, and I think that it's reality. I think it's going to be reality until the season starts, and then even after the season starts. I mean, that's the thing that we're going to have to prepare for. That's different than the NFL, where they had their opt-out date, and it was kind of like, all right, if you survive that, you're good to go. But with college, it's going to be a very ongoing process, and I think when you see a number like that, you see, whoa, like 10 kids are opting out. Potential starting quarterback. You're like, that's different. I don't know when exactly that process is going to stop. And as we've seen in Baton Rouge, of course, that is, there's no necessarily, there's not necessarily a stop date for when, these key players are going to opt out, but I think it's going to continue happening in a variety of different places. Now, I think UCF, to be honest, has recruited really well the last couple of years, and that system, I don't necessarily think they're going to skip a major beat or anything like that. They should still be one of the favorites to win that conference, to win the American and compete with Cincinnati and Memphis. But at the same time, it kind of makes you take a step back and go, wow, we are really not going to know what these teams are going to look like on a week-to-week basis.
Connor O'Gara is our guest, and that's sort of a bridge to my next question, which is opt-outs before the season is one thing, but we have been speculating about the opt-outs during the season, whether it's a prospect that gets some good film down for 3 or 4 games, or a player that's on a team that ends up not being very good, struggles out of the gate. What is your thought on opt-outs during the season?
I think that the bye week is really important for a lot of these teams. If you get to that bye week and you're sitting there like your team – maybe it's a team like A&M who, like, if A&M has preseason expectations, we should be competing for an SEC championship, and they get to the bye week and they're like 3-3 or something like that. And then guys kind of look around and they're like, well, we're not exactly doing what we thought we were going to be doing. This year, I mean, is just kind of a bummer for a variety from a variety of standpoints. And, traveling on the road is going to be such a different atmosphere, and all the different eggshells that you have to kind of walk on to be able to just have a football season. There are going to be a lot of elements to this that are really frustrating, and it's going to feel like a different sort of grind. So I point to that time of the season when the teams are going through the bye week, and there's not necessarily a Saturday game to look forward. If there are going to be guys who are like, you know what, I'm done. I've kind of done what I need to do. It's not even going to hurt me from an eligibility standpoint. Maybe I just sit out the rest of the year. Maybe I go to the NFL, whatever the case may be. But I do think that's going to be an ongoing thing. And Sam Ellinger brought it up a few weeks ago and said that we need to prepare for this because this is going to be a reality. That's coming from Sam Ellinger, not me. That's somebody who has as much invested into his college career as anybody in the country. And he even knows that that's a reality, and programs across the country are going to continue to have to deal with that.
It's funny because that's actually the same team that I used, and a team that could very easily start 1-2 to open the season with games against Alabama and Florida in their first 3, and it'd be a very interesting story there in College Station, Connor. And earlier today on our SEC show, we were talking about potential teams that could be the most overrated within the SEC. And I know our guy Barrett Sallee's catching some flack because he mentioned that he thinks it could be Georgia. But when you look at it, there's a lot of question marks still offensively for the Georgia Bulldogs, and that's with me thinking a ton about Todd Monken being the offensive coordinator. A lot of people want to just assume, well, LSU did it. Well, Georgia surely can do it. People kind of forget, Connor, that LSU did it over 2 years. In 2018, they started to implement some of the things that they did in 2019. Joe Burrow was his first-year starter. Jefferson was a guy who was kind of coming into his own. And it took that transition year of 2018, which ended up being a good year. You win the Fiesta Bowl, but that was a transition year to learn the new offense, learn the new style. You broke in your new quarterback who transferred in from Ohio State. I don't just assume that Georgia can bring Jamie Newman in from Wake Forest, bring Todd Monken in, change the offense, and just be this dynamic offense that wins a national championship.
Yeah, and I came on this show last year before the start of the season, and I kept saying, I like the fact that LSU is, I think they're at the time they were in the top 20 in terms of percentage of returning production on the offensive side of the ball. That's a stat that Bill Connolly now at ESPN does a great job putting together every single year. And you're just kind of looking around, you're like, they have the pieces in place to be able to make this work with Joe Brady. It's about getting the right scheme in place. And as you mentioned with Georgia, everything's a moving piece. I mean, yeah, you like what you saw from George Pickens in the Sugar Bowl last year, but he was a guy who was still inconsistent and hasn't really shown that he can be a true number one. Zamir White, let's see if he can stay healthy for a full college year. Let's see if all these new pieces on the offensive line, which has major turnover as well, as how that group is going to look with Matt Luke now coaching up the offensive line. And, hey, is this offense going to work? Because this is very different than what we've seen from Georgia. It's not a Mike Leach air raid, but there are a lot of air raid principles with this that kind of rely on this whole deal just being able to fit right. And if you're going to have Jamie Newman as the starting quarterback, which I believe he will be, make sure that he's protected. You know, something that we talked about a lot in 2018 with LSU. LSU was sort of limited with what they could do with Joe Burrow because the backup situation with having Miles Brennan banged up for the entire year, they couldn't necessarily run Joe Burrow and expose him in the way that they might have differently in 2019 just because they had all those issues on the offensive line, especially tackle positions as well. But is that going to be a thing that follows Georgia this year where they're not necessarily able to have the full arsenal with Jamie Newman? They don't necessarily feel comfortable about protecting him. We're still trying to figure out if JT Daniels is going to be healthy for the year. There are so many moving pieces with Georgia that if it works, great. But I don't think they're going to be LSU 2.0. I think that's unrealistic. But the defense is still, the number one defense in the country that returns, 81% of its production from last year. And that's why LSU, I don't think that's realistic for the offense, but I think Georgia is still going to be in the hunt defensively because of what they're able to do on that side of the ball.
Connor O'Gara's, I guess, from Saturday Down South. Connor, I want to ask this question for two reasons. Number one, because you guys did a piece on it. Number two, because Hester walked in today and said, man, we talked to Sam Pittman today, and it's just like, what a hill that guy's got to climb. I want to ask about Arkansas for a minute. You guys had a piece about realistic goals for Arkansas. Changing the quarterback, changing the coach, first-year coach, first-time coach, limited practice, toughest schedule in college football, at least, with what we know that we're starting with. So what is a realistic goal? Because on paper, we're looking at what could be one of the most brutal seasons in SEC history.
I mean, I think realistic is feeling better about Sam Pittman than how you feel about him right now. If Arkansas fans can just say that, then don't get caught up so much in the wins and losses. Don't get caught up so much in what your rivals are doing necessarily. I think that's the most important thing. Now, how do they get to that point? Well, I think it's seeing these hires work. I thought Barry Odom was such a fantastic hire. The fact that they were able to bring him in to coach up that defense is going to be monumental. I made the comparison all offseason. I think Barry Odom can do for Arkansas what Mike McIntyre did for Ole Miss last year, where I feel like he really turned that defense around. They figured out how to tackle and be in the right places, and they were very gap disciplined. So I think seeing that through is going to be important, and just not looking like a disaster on offense. I mean, this is a passing game that last year was ranked number 128 of 130 FBS teams in terms of passing efficiency. Like, if they could just not shuffle through quarterbacks and have a quarterback start the year and finish the year, which we expect that to be Felipe Franks, I think that's a win. I think that those are all things that are realistic, tangible goals. It's not self-combusting. That's what you felt like Arkansas did under Chad Morris, despite the fact that they did actually have a couple of good things in the works. They have a lot of questions, especially at the line of scrimmage, and that's what's going to hold them back, because I actually think they're pretty good at the skill positions. But I think it's just getting to the place where by season's end, if you're like, yeah, all right, this is starting to work, we feel like Sam Pittman is actually a pretty decent hire, not just based off recruiting class rankings, but because of what we actually see on the field, then I think as an Arkansas fan, you're going to feel good about where the direction of your program's headed.
All right, before we let you go, Connor, obviously LSU's lost a couple of players, Jamar Chase, Tyler Shelvin, TK McClendon, Justin Thomas, some guys that transferred, or at least they're in the transfer portal. What's your view of LSU now that you know the news that those players won't be with the Tigers?
Have you guys talked about that yet? Is that subject has come up?
We got to push for the last segment right before we leave today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like this has been such a well-documented story of attrition, and the fact that LSU, I argued going into last week that it was a joke that Oklahoma was ranked ahead of them in the AP poll. I don't care how much talent LSU lost. We saw last year, you put LSU's second or third stringers out there, and they were hanging with Oklahoma just fine. So I thought that was a bit of a joke. But I do think, I mean, obviously it lowers expectations when you lose a Jamar Chase. And despite the fact that there are still a lot of weapons for Miles Brennan to be able to work with. And I can't wait to see Terrace Marshall healthy for a full year, and losing someone like Tyler Shelvin, who, we're having questions about whether or not he's going to become Bo Pelini's next great defensive lineman. That's a bummer. That really, really is. But I'll say this, because while I do think expectations have lowered, and I think that the gap between LSU and Alabama has widened, I still have LSU as my second best team in that division. But I'll say this. If Coach O figures out a way to go 8-2, man, everybody better watch out for LSU in 2021, because that's a team that'll start off in the top 3 in the country with realistic national championship expectations. And we'll be reminded that this guy absolutely knows what he's doing. This is the ultimate how high is LSU's floor sort of year. And I'm probably more, on the favoring LSU side than others, at least what I saw on social media the other day after Jamar Chase opted out. But, man, I think this is going to really say a lot about Coach O. And not that he needs to prove anything to anyone after the year that he just had, but what a prime opportunity for him to overcome some more adversity in a different way than he did in 2018. But I'm now maybe more interested than ever than in LSU to see what they can do with all of that roster attrition to be able to somehow still find a way to compete in that division.
Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Stay safe. We'll be with you soon.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Connor.
And we'll take a break here. Richard's Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Title sponsor here, Hangin with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as a bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Janny King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Janny King, the king of clean.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Pluckers. Tigers and Saints are back on the practice field. We'll have camp updates for you. And is the Big Ten going to play this fall? We'll have the latest. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Today's show is also brought to you in part by Supreme Rice, supremerice.com. Perfect complement to any meal, whether it's the long grain or the brown or the jasmine, which is our favorite. Hey, you cooking for Labor Day weekend? What's going on at the Hester house? I mean, we got something in a pot that needs rice. There's going to be something at our house, I promise you.
Yes.
It might be red beans.
Sign me up for all that.
It might be jambalaya. It might be an etouffee. I don't know what it's going to be. Probably up to Miss Tracy, but that's okay because we're going to use Supreme Rice. We always do.
It can just be white rice. My sons will absolutely destroy that little soy sauce on there.
Rice and gravy, man. Get it from Supreme Rice. You can get it at any AG food store, any of your Walmarts, your Costco's. Anywhere that you buy rice, you can get Supreme Rice, a great way to stretch your food dollar and get the delicious Supreme Rice as well. For more information, for great recipes as well, some unique recipes, support our Louisiana farmers and go to supremerice.com. How influential is Joe Burrow? I heard something today that I don't think I've heard very often, which is a player that could have decided to go somewhere else or forced his way somewhere else or been highly marketable if he'd have wanted to go somewhere else, say, I want to be a Bengal for life. This was Joe Mixon saying that. Now, he signed a 4-year contract for $48 million. And, you know, as running backs go, we've certainly talked enough about Alvin Kamara's contract. But that's a really nice hunk of change for a running back. Would Joe Mixon have gotten that somewhere else? Possibly. You know, maybe even probably. Joe Mixon's a good player. The quote was, I don't think he's your typical rookie. He's going to be a great guy in this league for years to come. I hope to finish my career with him because, honestly, this offense is going to be special. It has a lot of potential to do special things. Don't hear this with the Bengals. I'm not saying people haven't taken the Bengals money, that there haven't been successful players from the Bengals, that, you know, they made the playoffs. I know that Marvin Lewis
didn't win a game in there, but he got there. Yeah.
Well, I've said this a number of times on the show. The more I look back at it and the more I learned about the Bengals organization over the years and the more of those things that came to light after Joe Burrow went there, I came to appreciate the job that Marvin Lewis had done to even make the playoffs as many times as he did, given the limitations of the organization, rather than deride him for not winning a game. But be that as it may, when you hear somebody who is one of the most talented guys at his position, which Joe Mixon is, don't care for him much in some of his antics off the field, but as a running back, look, the guy's pretty good. And he says, I want to be in Cincinnati. It's not exactly a destination spot in the NFL. He says, no. That guy's special. He's not your typical rookie. Joe Mixon didn't have to say that. He already got his money. He could say, well, you know what? It was a good deal for me, and let's move on.
Yeah.
I only say this because the praise has been almost universal for Burrow up there. Not that this is a surprise to us here. But rookie quarterbacks have to prove their worth. Give me times you were in the NFL, you were with extremely veteran quarterbacks at the top, but at some point, the Chargers or the Broncos had to have drafted a rookie or something like that.
We had Brock Osweiler in Denver, and obviously he had a big payday.
He did get a big payday.
And he was a big arm.
Don't rookies period. Don't rookie quarterbacks especially have to come in and prove that they belong there, even to be a backup in the NFL?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But still, there's so many things that you could say, oh gosh, yeah, he's going to be good. He's talented. He's a rookie. You know, just those things.
You can get around it.
Those things that you don't see in college football that show up in day one of your professional career. Because you can be a guy like Brock was. Brock was a second-round pick from Arizona State, played in the Pac-12, right? And there's going to be a second- or third-year safety from North Dakota State that's going to make a play that you've never seen before. It's the best of the best, and not only players but coaches as well. So when you see a rookie like Joe Burrow and he's impressing veteran players, that doesn't happen very often because – for the most part, it's if they don't screw up, you're just like, oh, okay, well that's good. But if you're making plays and if you're a leader, which he has been, he's been the starting quarterback since he was drafted. But that is a big deal for a player like that to come out and say, those things about Joe Burrow. So everything we've heard has been positive, and the coaching staff and the players have gone over the top to tell you what his leadership has been as well, which we knew, but. Sometimes even if it is your team, it's hard as a rookie to get the veterans to say something nice about you.
He certainly did. They're trying to change a culture there. They're trying to change a culture, and I don't mean so far as the players and coaches. I'm telling you, they're trying to change an organizational culture there that has been overwhelmingly on the cheap. Everything about Cincinnati's organization screamed, we want to do this on the cheap. Oh, we want to win. And they brought some good players in. They remind me a great deal of the New Orleans Pelicans at the beginning of the Tom Benson regime. Yes, we want to win. Yes, we want to keep the team here, but you're going to be a stepchild to the Saints. Everything the Bengals did, yeah, we want to win. Yeah, but we got to make money too. It takes a lot to change. You hear me talk about owners all the time, and I don't think Mike Brown's a very good owner, but he's an older gentleman now, and things are changing. And Burrow kind of fired a shot. He had enough stature to do that. Didn't mean it was going to work, but he fired that shot before the draft. Like, hey man, look, I ain't going in there to finish 4-12. I ain't going in there to do this stuff on the cheap to where if we do overachieve and get in the playoffs, we're going to get thumped. So maybe you're starting to see it change. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
More change than we've ever really seen. They've never spent the type of money that they spent this year in
not with
free
Mike
agency.
Brown as the owner, no.
They have not done that. And you're starting to see them make some moves that are outside of their norm. They would never given Joe Mixon that much money before his contract ran out in prior years. This is a team that is changing. I'm not saying it's all because of Joe Burrow, but you can tell it had an impact on the franchise.
Something is, and I've heard it said, well, the Bengals have had some success in their history. They made a couple of Super Bowls, not with this owner, and that to me makes all of the difference in the world. We'll see, but Joe Mixon signs his contract, and again, we'll see if Kamara's deal very closely mirrors that. The Saints can get that done. We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. Dr. Stephen Etheridge will be with us when we come back as they get closer towards football over on campus. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
GMFS Mortgage, GMFSmortgage.com, helping you financially. Your biggest bill every month is likely to be your rent or your mortgage. If you're a typical American, that's going to soak up a significant percentage of your budget. Wouldn't it be great if that number was lower? GMFS Mortgage can help. With historically low rates, you owe it to yourself to take a look now and see if you can better your financial budget every single month. Maybe you're renting and it's time to buy your first home, and you've got more purchasing power now than you ever will have with these interest rates. Maybe a refi to free up some cash, free up a little bit of room for you here with maybe a 1 or 2 month break in your mortgage, maybe a construction loan if you're looking to add to your family. Let a qualified counselor from GMFS Mortgage locally help you out. They'll answer a few questions. The initial consultation doesn't take very long, and You'll be able to move out of there with lots of options, and you'll pick the best one for you and your family. From there all the way to the closing, your counselor will help you out. I think you're going to be real pleased with how rapid that process goes. Do what I did, do what thousands of others have done. Improve your financial status today with gmfsmortgage.com.
Off the Bench, Hanging with Hester and Hanny. After further review and more are all live daily on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Subscribe now to interact with us inside the live chat driven by Bayou Ford.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
This is big. Really big. I mean really, really, really big. Because Honda's summer clearance event is going on right now at Richards Honda. With 0 to the 4th power on brand new Honda Civics. That's 0 down, 0 due at signing, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month payment. Plus, summer clearance on every new vehicle in stock. Just another reason why people call Richards Honda the smart choice. I-12 at Millerville Road and richardshonda.com.
Join us for a Wednesday edition of Game Time with Jimmy Ott and Ben Mintz. We're live from City Slice Bites and Pizza over on Chime Street, right outside the campus of LSU. Come say hi or tune in 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
We're brought to you by Richards Honda, home of the warm and fuzzy feeling. And we have breaking news. Oh, we have breaking news music, too. And Josh on top of things. Hester, what is our breaking news?
Georgia quarterback Jamie Newman is opting out of the 2020 season. That's from Seth Emerson. Does a great job for The Athletic. Had it first. So, JT Daniels has entered the chat.
I'll bet.
That's big. I mean, this is
2020, man.
This is a guy that transferred from Wake Forest, did a really nice job in the ACC. Looked like he was going to be the leader of that new Todd Monken offense in Athens. And JT Daniels made the move to transfer there, got the waiver. We don't know why he got the waiver, but he got the waiver. And looks like he'll be your starting quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs.
So we spent the entire spring, the entire spring football practice season, I'm going to call it, talking about Jamie Newman being able to go in there, putting him in a position with Todd Monken in that offense that they would really change things, that things would really be spiced up. We wasted a lot of time with that, didn't we?
We did. This is about as surprising as it gets, just because you transferred to Georgia. It wasn't a team that you played for last year. This is somewhere where you chose to go, and now you're opting out, and reports are to get ready for the draft. I don't know what his draft stock looks like right now, but not enough to opt out of the football season.
You think he just got beat out? Is it that simple?
Obviously, it's going to be your first thought, and this is something that I'm going to try to do some digging, see if we can get some Georgia sources to see what was that competition like. Remember, JT Daniels didn't get cleared at the beginning of camp. This is somebody who was coming off an injury, and what better way to transition?
JT Daniels was very adamant about, I'm glad to be here at Georgia, and I don't want to talk about the transfer. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing just kind of, okay, but waivers are so common now, and I don't want to get into a whole blanket statement about waivers, because I do think circumstances for kids are unique this year. I'm inclined to be a little bit more forgiving about eligibility this year than any other, for a variety of reasons surrounding the pandemic. But as soon as he got in there, he clammed up about it pretty quick, and we're seeing the results of that. Dr. Stephen Etheridge is with us. How are you?
Doing great.
Okay. Tell me how the team is doing, because all right, so the story broke, was it a week and a half ago, the offensive line went into quarantine, and then Coach O telling us yesterday, and we saw the video footage, the offensive line is mostly back intact, and the starters are completely intact. So you tell me what the protocol is. A guy tests positive, and then what happens?
So, yeah, when we have guys out, doesn't mean they're sick, and that's the thing. I think I've heard y'all talk about it. I've heard other people talk about it. We've talked about it a few times. Somebody misses because of some COVID precaution. It may be something as simple as they might have had a contact, and we're trying to track that down. So if we're nervous, especially right now, that maybe somebody had a contact with a friend or roommate, maybe that roommate's currently been tested, but we don't know the results, then we have to wait. So a lot of times we're kind of playing this waiting game. Other times, if we know they've been around a positive, especially if it's what we call a close contact, like a roommate, then they do have to go into a quarantine period. So just because we have guys out, just because they're missing for a quote COVID reason, doesn't mean they've had it or that they have it currently.
I thought it was big news over the weekend. We found out that Central Arkansas, who's already played that game against Austin Peay, had 0 positive tests, and they're now going to UAB. UAB actually put them up in a hotel and paid for that COVID testing, but they had no positive results after playing a football game. I thought that was as big a news as we had over the weekend. Obviously, we had a couple other things happen in Baton Rouge, but I thought that was big for college football.
I think so, and we've talked about it previously. The concern isn't on the field for us, especially with a game like football where it's outdoors. Yes, there's a lot of close contact, but the thing is, they've done a study, the Department of Health released a study saying it's 19 times less likely to be contracted when you're outdoors. So we know that already. We know that, it's not like, yes, they're close, but they aren't necessarily breathing the same space, even though, yes, you're right next to each other. It's not that we're worried as much about, bumping arms or tackling. It's being in the same confined space for a long period. That's really what's considered a close contact. So, the fact that they got through a game is what we hoped to see, and it's kind of what we thought we would see. We just got to maintain the extracurricular stuff and really get the guys to understand that.
What's the testing like on campus for non-athletes? I'm asking because when they returned, they weren't required to submit a negative test. That was the case at other campuses, but they are still tracking some numbers. What is the protocol for non-athletes on campus?
So for the non-athletes, really they've got these testing booths set up at a few locations around campus. In fact, I just saw one of them as I was on my way up here. It looks like a little small trailer. If you're feeling sick, they're encouraging the students to go there. If you have a test, they don't want you to go back to class until it's negative. Student health has been very active. Pretty much if anybody has something that's, a sniffle, they're going to be swabbing them. So you can go to student health, or you can call student health. They'll tell you where to go. There are several satellite locations, and to my understanding, the students are aware of where these are located. So if they're worried that they might have it, they're going. Obviously we're going to be more liberal with regards to missing classes, and unfortunately most things are currently online, outside of your labs and things like that can't be.
So that extra time that the SEC, obviously gave everyone in the league and not starting, say next week and really going to the end of the month has proven to be vital for, finding out and figuring out and kind of answering a lot of the questions.
I think so. And I think it was a good decision. I think we've all agreed that was a good idea. I mean,
it's called leadership. I know there's some conferences that struggle with that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got great leadership for sure. But it was a great idea, and I think that we had to do something along those lines. I think my only fear is what happens if we have a scenario where, let's say, you do have a team that can't put an entire position group out there. What are we going to do in that scenario? And we haven't talked a whole lot about that. I mean, we've talked about it. I guess we haven't found the solution because that may happen throughout the year. And is that a forfeited game? Is that just a no-show? How do you count all that stuff? That's going to be interesting to see. But I think with what we've done, we've handled it really well. I'm really proud of the people that are making those decisions. I think they're doing the best they can. It's very easy to be critical, but I don't want that job right now.
What do we know about the virus now that we didn't know a month ago when it comes to players on campus and students on campus?
I think the thing we've seen is that generally kind of what we thought, but I think we've just had it kind of reaffirmed is that these guys are mostly okay. We across the country, the young, healthy population, we still take it seriously. We still worry about potential long-term consequences and complications. We also obviously worry about who they might come in contact with. So this is not a call to say, hey, go to the party, go do crazy things. But overall, what we've seen, and when I talked to a lot of our peers at some of the other schools in the SEC and across the country, is the young, healthy population is exactly that. They get sick. Most of them do really well, but more like just a common cold, if that. So I think we feel a little bit better with that. We haven't had a lot of instances thus far when they've returned to sport. Sometimes a little more fatigue, but sometimes that's just missing a couple weeks. We've had some that just maybe were quarantined because their roommate was sick and they weren't sick, and that's a struggle to come back from.
Am I correct in saying that the policy is that those that have tested positive and recovered do not have to test again for 90 days?
Correct. Yeah, and that's straight off the CDC guideline. And obviously, it would be great to see that number extended. Not so much, obviously we want to do it safe, but we want to see that your immunity is more than 90 days. And that's what we're seeing right now is that 90 days, there's not been anybody who's had it twice really in the world. You hear these people saying, I tested positive twice, but we know most of that's been dead virus if you really send that to a confirmatory testing lab. So there have been a couple questionable ones overseas where it's been out of that 90-day window. So obviously we kind of got to figure that out, but it would be great to extend it longer. But right now that's where we are.
Is there any reason for somebody that doesn't have symptoms, anybody that age on campus that doesn't have symptoms, to test?
I think if you have a close contact, and that's still what we're doing, especially in athletics, because we need to know early. So you have that, let's say I have not had it, but my roommate tests positive, then I should probably get tested.
I got a real quick question, and obviously we don't talk names here, but as far as the conditioning and the minor injuries that we kind of talked about that could potentially pop up in college football because of the different offseason, seems like they haven't popped up.
They haven't. I can't speak for the other schools. I don't know exactly what they're dealing with. I can say here, and if you look at what we did, it was kind of more like an NFL model where we slowly ramped these guys up. Right. We brought them back in June. And really, they've been here most of that time doing something. Now, early on, it was very light. It was very quick workouts. It wasn't – and honestly, it's an interesting model, maybe something we can move forward because I feel like we've had a little bit more of the heat stuff, but it's also been so humid this past couple of weeks. But as far as seeing guys with soft tissue –
let me tell you, Monday might have been one of the most humid days that I can remember in Baton Rouge. And I that's the first thing I thought about was, oh, man, over on the Ponderosa, there's some salt drinks being thrown around.
Lots of it, yeah. Monday was a rough day. I mean, it's funny you didn't think it was that hot, but as soon as you walked out, it was thick. You're breathing through a straw, and that's tough.
It's the head in the oven is what we used to call it. It feels like you put your head in an oven and turned it on.
It was bad. You're definitely right about that.
It's September now, right? And it's not even August anymore.
Yes.
Just thought I'd remind you.
Yeah, well, does it really matter in South Louisiana?
The difference between August and September, not a whole lot, no.
October either. Let's just go ahead and throw that in there.
Remember the Auburn game, the DJ Shark game? That was October and felt every bit of July.
I swear to you, I saw the devil do the high step on the 50-yard line. It was so hot.
I needed an IV after that one.
That was tough. Doc, thanks for stopping by as always. We appreciate your information and stay safe.
My pleasure.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. Ask us in the Bayou Ford chat on YouTube. This is Hanging with Hester and Hanny, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hanging with Hester and Hanny.
All right, we're brought to you by Baton Rouge Foundation Repair. You can find them online at brfoundation.com. Baton Rouge Foundation Repair offers services to correct the settlement of both slab foundations and pier and beam foundations. Some of the signs of foundation problems are doors that won't close, sunken floors, cracks in the foundation, cracked outside and inside wall. Some of those things that contribute to that: plumbing leaks, evaporation, poor soil conditions, poor drainage, poor foundation construction. Don't be fooled. Don't be asked to pay twice by the other guys. Call Baton Rouge Foundation Repair at 225-275-0101. Also, I gave you that website, brfoundation.com. There you can find a full list of services. You can check out those warranties for the slab foundations and the pier and beam foundations. Of course, you can check that gallery for the before and after pictures of what they can do for your foundation needs. Also, go ahead and give that call for a free quote. One last time, 225-275-0101.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.
Coming up on Thursdays, Off the Bench. The latest on Alvin Kamara as the Saints, as the Bucs are quickly approaching. Also, where will Leonard Fournette land? Chef Michael Johnson answering Munchie's questions. And Chad Durbin talking MLB. Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN.
Hangin with Hester and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 1130 The Tiger.
Vin Scully's pushing 55,000 Twitter followers in 2 hours. Everybody loves
He
Vin.
passed me up.
Everybody loves
Passed me
Vin.
up.
He passed me up in about half an hour or less. But when you've been doing Dodger games for 67 years, I guess so. All right, ask us in the Bayou Ford chat. This one's for you. Ask Hester, best Phillip Rivers story. You got a lot of material. Huh?
But my favorite, and I've said it on air before, but I'll always go back to it, is when we were playing in Oakland and Rolando McClain was the middle linebacker. It was 3rd and 1. I was about to get the ball, and we were beating them pretty good. It was at the end of the game, and it was 2011. LSU and Alabama were about to play in the national championship, and Philip just tells Rolando right where the ball's going. He's like, hey, Rolando. Here comes Hester right up the middle, babies. Try to stop him. LSU, Bama, here we go. I'm like, hey, Phil, I wish you wouldn't do that. It'd be great if you didn't tell him right where the ball's going. And he loves it when I tell that story because Philip embodies, like, just in the game moment. He loses his mind in a great way. Like, he just, for 60 minutes, he becomes controlled chaos.
Yeah.
And he's a trash talker. But he does it with the best of them, and he does it without cursing. I've told you that for a long time. But that was the one time I'm like, Philip, like, I know you get fired up out here, and his brother was, looking at LSU at the time, and I'm like, but could you not tell that guy where I'm going? We ended up getting like 5 yards. Offensive line did a great job. Maybe they had to do a little extra because they knew that Philip just told him where the play was going.
I'm trying to think who was the best pass rusher in the game when you were in the league. I'm trying to think.
James Harrison was pretty good.
Okay.
Terrell Suggs.
Okay, that works. I'm just looking for the best one. Philip, you ever pull that again? I'm gonna miss a blitz pickup on James Harrison and
Tom Ali. Yeah.
Right, exactly. One of those deals. Ask us flour or corn tortillas.
Ooh, unpopular answer. I'm going corn. El Chico corn tortillas up in the Port City. Sign me up for those.
Oh, wow. Nah, I got to go the other way. I got to go the other way. I'm going to eat either one, though.
Either one.
Yeah. Let's see. Ask us favorite brand of red beans. I don't know that it makes a whole bunch of difference to me. I'm not brand specific when it comes to red beans so much.
What's your favorite bean?
Probably would be red beans. Okay. I like pork and beans too.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I guess that's
like
cheating,
beans.
Right? Yeah, I could. Not my favorite.
We used to have this meal. When my dad used to make it all the time. Rice, ground beef, and ranch-style beans, and he called it prison food. I'm not really sure where that name came from or how that came together. And my dad was a city policeman for like 30 years.
Okay, what
so maybe he saw it like in the prison.
What would it,
rice, ground beef, and ranch-style beans mixed together? Prison food.
That sounds like something. My grandmother was a caterer for it. That's something that she would call it goulash.
Okay.
I'm sure there is a specific definition for goulash. She would probably call it eat your goulash.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Yes, ma'am.
Ask us. Rockets or Thunder tonight. Playboy Marty. Where is he?
Throwing the microphone. Let's see what he's got.
He cashed on his Ingles bet yesterday. He got points, rebounds, assists, turnovers, fouls, shoe size, everything. He had Ingles over. So you won that. Who do you like tonight?
I picked Houston at the start of the series, and I'm rolling with it. I'm banking on a Harden 45-point performance tonight.
You think he's been hearing for 48 hours how he didn't want the ball at the end?
Oh, yeah.
So he's going to shoot tonight.
He's definitely going to shoot.
He's going to make her. You know what I got in the back of my head was that Rockets go, and I know it's a different Rockets team, but that Rockets Golden State Game 7 in Houston from 2016, I think it was, where they went like 1 for 27 from 3 in the second half.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And now this is completely different circumstances.
That was the year they came back against the Clippers to be there.
Yeah, right. And it was the year that they had Golden State beat. They just make 12% of their shots in the second half or something like that. And I don't remember what the exact number was. I liked the Thunder at the beginning of the series. I thought they had an excellent chance because of the way they defended the three. Series really hasn't played out that way at all. More likely when Houston has missed, they've just missed. It's not because I think the Thunder have been playing great defense. But at crunch time, at least in the last couple of games, it's been Chris Paul that has made the big plays. I'm rolling with the Thunder tonight. Small upset. We catching 5.5?
5.5. I don't hate that.
Yeah, I would take the 5.5 for sure. Let's see. Ask us Stars or Avalanche. That's definitely you, because no, you're not the hockey guy.
I don't know anything about it. That'd be throwing money at a wall.
Hester, you know anything about Stars or Avalanche?
Only hockey team I care about is New York Rangers.
So we're gonna plead ignorance on that. Let's see. Ask us. Ever heard of SOS and know what it stands for? The original was Save Our Ship, right?
Yep.
And then Steve Spurrier's middle name starts with an O, doesn't it? They called him SOS for a while. I can't remember what his Octavius. I don't really remember what it was, but he was for a long time. He was referred to. You got to go find. See if you can.
Doring will know.
Yeah. Let's see. Ask the boomer, is it still a hoodie if it's only short sleeve?
Am I the boomer or you the boomer?
I'm reading right here. Is that a hoodie?
Yeah, it's a hoodie. Yeah,
okay.
Hoodie Mellow. I told you.
Neither one of us are technically boomers.
Stephen
Spurrier. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess it's still a hoodie. It doesn't. A hoodie is because it has a hood on it, not because it has long sleeves. The sleeves have nothing to do with it, so it's still a hoodie because it has a hood. So you don't have to have long sleeves. This is, when you come in studio and it's cold, but you don't want to have long sleeves when you go out to your car and sweat like you stole something.
Okay, so that's good. Ask us, what channel is Andy Griffith on?
TV
Land. No, it's TV Land.
TBS probably has some reruns
at some
point. I don't know.
I haven't watched Andy Griffith in a long time. When we were small, we watched him.
Favorite Nick and Night show?
Currently,
just ever. Either Get Smart, Dick Van Dyke, F Troop.
Oh,
what we
one
got?
of those.
Dobie Gillis.
Yeah, maybe so. I was gonna say all that's on there now is Friends, 24 hours a day. See you tomorrow, buddy.
Hangin' with Hester and Hanny.